Hello and welcome to episode 66 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Darren Whittam, and joining me this week it's our good friend having unashamedly relinquished his VR virginity and taking time out in real life for our listening delight. It's Antony Chesson.
Hello Des, how you doing, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. It didn't hurt popping my VR cherry.
Were you a bit worried at first that there might be a quick pain and then
it would make me sick.
Then euphoria.
So how are you, sir? How's your week been?
I'm okay, thank you very much for asking. And my week's been okay. Nothing that amazing to talk about for me this week. I usually try and think of something, techie or gamey to mention in this slot, but it's been a bit quiet, really.
Right.
One funny thing was my little boy, right, and this is going to make it sound like I sort of have him playing games all the time, and I do not, right? I bring him up with a balanced lifestyle. But he shocked and amazed me the other day. This was so funny. He was cracking me up with a party trick on Pokemon Go, right? And what he did was basically, in the, not the Pokedex, but the part where it shows which Pokemon you've collected.
Yes.
So the game is, right, that basically I hold the iPad and I'm looking at that screen, and he sits with his back to me, and I press the Pokemon, any Pokemon, pick a Pokemon, any Pokemon, and then he shouts the name out from the sound it makes.
Oh, right. That was superb.
And he's getting them all right, which is quite shocking. We've got about 80.
Right.
And I just thought, yeah, right, whatever. This is just going to be like him making it up or something. So I tried the first one, and I don't know, Electabuzz, for instance. It went and he's like, Electabuzz. I was like, okay, well done, Sam. That is one of your strongest ones, so you know that a lot. Scroll down the list. Right, let's pick another one. Because they all sound... The noises in that game aren't very good. It doesn't sound to me like very much at all. Maybe it's my old ears, but they all sort of just sound like a load of digital noise. It doesn't sound like a monster's roar or anything. To me, it's all like... So anyway, I picked another one. And he's like, Charmander. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, you're right. And this was one that I knew that he hadn't played, seen a lot. So I went through the list and picked all these Pokemon. And he just sat there. It was so funny. He was like Mastermind or something. And he was just blurting out all the names. I was like, oh man, in the old days, I'd have got him on You Bet with Matthew Kelly. My 5-year-old boy can name any Pokemon just from its sound. And I was really amazed by that. And we went to my mate's daughter's birthday party. She was 3. And Sam had a bit of a bored moment, so we went walking around the garden looking for Pokemon with the iPad, and my friend's son, he's 10, Dan, he came with us, and I said, oh, guess what? And I said, I bet you Sam can guess any Pokemon from the noise, and he was like, you what, as if? So we sat him in the swivel chair with his back to us both, and we were both picking up different Pokemon, and Sam was shouting, Charmander, Squirtle, and he was right each time. And
wow.
His face was just proper amazed, as mine was. I was just like, this is a crack up. I think he failed on 1 or 2, but he'd proved his point. It was just so funny. The way he shouts it out with triumph, it's just so funny to hear. So that was the most interesting gaming event of the week for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I was thinking of recording it and uploading it just for a laugh. It's just so funny. It's with maybe a bit of the Mastermind music. Okay, Sam Whittam, are you ready to name that Pokemon? It's like...
That's what's it. That sounds like a YouTube series. Name that Pokemon.
It does, doesn't it? you got a row. It's a bit like what's it called? That one where they sing on BBC One and they spin the chairs round.
Oh, The Voice.
The Voice. It's like The Voice, but it's called The Pokemon or something. And yeah, you got your 3 celebrities that got got their backs turned, and all the audience can see which Pokemon it is, and then the Pokemon makes a noise, and they got to press a button, and the chair spins round. Maybe not.
No. Or they have different scores depending on the rarity of the Pokemon. Your Pikachu is 10 points, and then you kind of go down to a real rare Pokemon, which would be something like 100 points or something like
and
that.
And speed on the button as well of how quick the chair revolves round.
Exactly. So,
that'd be cool.
Name that Pokemon coming to BBC 3 online.
Saturday Night TV has just been saved.
It'd be better than that program that I can. What's it called? It's called Pointless.
Great British Bake Off.
No shit. Oh god, did you watch the Bake Off last week? It was just...
No, I was trying to mock it.
It's so good.
Oh no, I've not segued into the Bake Off, have I?
It's the quarterfinals this week. It's very exciting.
It's still not over.
Oh, no. It might be the semi-finals. No, it's the quarterfinals. There's some really good people. I was quite shocked because Benjamina went out, and I thought she was going to get to the final. So they're doing some really good stuff now.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, it really is. Oh my god, it really is.
So you don't like Pointless then?
No, I could never get it. It takes me forever for Lickner to explain exactly what the game is about. so I'm like, so that's really bad because they've only got 1 point. She goes, that's really good. I'm like, why is that good? They only got 1 point.
I think that guy, the guy who's the guy who sits at the laptop. I've seen him on Have I Got News For You, and I was in stitches, so he seemed like a really funny guy.
Yes.
But the only thing about it that I like is when they have a celebrity special, and it's just the irony of the title. It's Pointless Celebrities, isn't it?
Yes.
And like I'm sort of like anti-celebrity, so I put it on and I don't know who any of them are, and I'm kind of proud about that. And I'm just like, yeah, Pointless Celebrities. I like the ironic title there. The only other thing I've been doing this week was I sort of, I was there when you got your PSVR and you messaged me and it was like, hey, and I was kind of immune to it. Until you got yours, and then another friend got in touch, all excited about it, and then another friend was all like about it, and they're like, it's all over the internet. And I was okay in my little bubble because I hadn't been following it because I got my Vive already, and I was obviously following it when I was on my Vive, and then all of a sudden I got this big sort of like chasm opened up in front of me of not being part of a launch that I actually all of a sudden realised that I'd love to be part of.
Yes.
So I got all sad, and so I went on the PSVR launch subreddit and started reading everyone going, mind blown, this is amazing. Oh man, mine's getting shipped today and all this. And I was like really like, oh man, I wish I was part of this. And I was getting to the stage where I was just going to like start ringing up shops to see if we got stock, which was really ridiculous for me to do because... Well, it wouldn't be ridiculous, but it would probably be indulgent, to say the least, for me to grab another headset. But I really was like getting to that stage. I knew you were enjoying yours. I had a stream from Eurogamer on the TV while I was doing something of a guy doing a live stream of playing the games, on launch day. And I just got dead excited, and I was like, I want to be part of this. Feels like this is the true VR launch, and I want to be part of it. So yeah, I was a bit wistful and melancholy about it. I mean, obviously, I was happy for everybody getting into it, and the fact that it was an event that made the news, it was amazing. Wow. It was like I had caught the BBC News, and towards the end of the news they said techies are happy because PSVR is now here, and it really captured. I thought that this is the mainstream, and they had the big sort of. They had a big headset at one of the stations in London and stuff, and they featured that on the news where you could go and test one. And I was like, wow, look, this is really exciting. And I was kind of like, but I'm not part of it. Maybe I should have waited. So I was a bit sad, but I'm sure that you weren't, were you, when Thursday came around?
Oh, absolutely not. No, like I say, I messaged you the moment it arrived. I had a thing where I put a note on the door because I'm up in the top of my house, kind of very far away from the door. So I wouldn't hear the postman, and so I put a note saying, call me on this number if there's no answer. I just was like, do not take it back to the depot.
Notes everywhere so that you definitely can't miss it.
Indeed. I had my window open, so I had kind of like one ear kind of out the window, kind of see if I could hear like a van, and then I heard it, ran downstairs, had this because I was quite surprised actually because I got a box from Amazon and I thought it was going to be bigger for some reason, because I had like PlayStation VR, the camera, the wands and a game. I thought the box was going to be bigger, but so I was like, the guy was just about to pull away, and I was like, and he was mouthing to me going, it's in the garden, like that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, and I was like, there's only one box, there should be two, there was all this was going on in hand gesture, and so I ripped it open outside my house, and then I was like, no, gave him the thumbs up, and off he drove, and then I kind of run up, and I was just instantly was quite excited about it. I Skyped you to show you the boxes. I was like, look at this.
Yeah.
Little did I know I made you feel bad.
Oh no, you didn't. I was really excited and happy for you, but I just it hadn't started then. It crept on as the afternoon drew on, and as I started reading more and more about the sort of the excitement that was that the community had towards it, and it was like, oh. But it was great to see you. It was like a window into Christmas morning when you were 7.
it's quite interesting because James was feeling the same. I think he was. So I had a game on Thursday with James, like a Thursday night. We were playing some Xbox, and he was like, I think he went to 3 places. He went to like Asda, Sainsbury's, and Curry's or something like that to see if he could pick one up on the way home.
I thought he didn't want one.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, a way home would be kind of in quotes because I think he had to kind of detour off.
The excitement changed his mind.
Exactly. And he was like,
I nearly got one, so.
On the Tuesday, he was very much kind of, I'm not getting one. I'm going to see how it goes. I'll be fine. And then on the Thursday, he was like, I'm just looking for one now. And I think he picked one up on either Friday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday. He picked one up. So James got one as well. And he's been we've been messaging over the kind of weekend. But I grabbed, so I had to wait. I had to wait until, I think I've never finished work so promptly, in my life. Normally I'll just finish up, kind of about 5:30, 5:45, something like that. This was like 5 o'clock almost on the dot, like 5:01. I was like, put my status in my instant message thing at work to like gone for the day, and then I just ran downstairs. I just ran downstairs. I was, and I know this sounds really stupid, but I was really impressed at the presentation of the boxes. PlayStation VR. The box was a very nice box. It was hinged. Everything was in little kind of sub boxes, little kind of blue boxes, and it all just felt a little kind of, it felt very high end. It felt like a real, and I know it is a luxury item, and it did feel kind of like a luxury item.
A bit special.
Yeah, exactly. I took a couple of pictures and sent them to you, didn't I?
Yeah, it did look nice. Do you think, did it feel like you were opening an Apple product almost?
It did. It really did. It felt like, I mean, the last time something felt that nice, that special, was when I got my Apple Watch for the first time, and that was very nice. The box and everything. And this, being a techie, it's all about that moment.
The experience. From receipt to unboxing to setting up, it's all part of it, isn't it?
Exactly. That first time using it, the kind of the confusion that you don't know how to work this thing yet, or the change, like when you get a new iOS update, it's like, what's new? And that's all kind of part and parcel. It's not only just using it. For me, it is that tearing that strip off the front of your iPhone, or in my case, I got PlayStation VR out of its boxes, I put them all, and then I had this moment where the movie room was looking a bit messy, so I packaged all of that away. I put all the boxes away and put that over to the side, so it was all nice and clear. And then I set PlayStation VR up. There was a nice big instruction manual, so I just kind of went through that to make sure I was doing it right the first time. Was very impressed at the processor unit. It does this kind of clunking thing where you kind of push it back to put your cables in, and then you push it back over the cables. That kind of had a satisfaction almost of cocking a shotgun.
Oh yeah, nice clunk click.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, oh right, I'm ready. And then
the gears reload.
Exactly. So I was a little bit disappointed because Batman Arkham VR, and this is the second time I've been caught out, which just kind of makes me I need to be more cautious in the future. But Arkham VR, I pre-ordered that when I knew that my PlayStation VR was coming. I pre-ordered Arkham VR. So I expected that to be sitting there on my PlayStation ready to play. So I fired it up and I'll just get Arkham, and I noticed that it wasn't on my cross-media bar. 100-Foot Robot Golf was there, Super Hypercube was there, all of those games were there. But Batman, which was pretty much the first thing I wanted to try, wasn't there. So I just quickly went to the store. It did say hit download, and that was saying 3 hours. So I was like, like I say, I got bitten with Gears of War, and I've done it again with Arkham VR. So I need to spend some time and just work out what's going wrong there. So I set everything up, got it all set up. It took about 25 minutes to get set up, from getting all of the boxes, from opening the box to actually donning their headset for the first time took about 25 minutes, and then I was and I was ready to go. So with Batman kind of downloading and looking like it's going to take a couple of hours, I thought the one game that I bought was as a disc was PlayStation VR Worlds. So you get the demo disc, but I chucked on PlayStation VR Worlds, and then it said, there's a 6 gig patch, do you want to download it? And then thankfully on the PlayStation Store you can actually say, no, I want to just play this game without the patch, I don't care, go for it.
That's good. You're a bit of a maverick though. I would have done the demo disc. It's kind of, I would have felt I had to.
Absolutely. So I just went, yes, I want to get in. I want to experience VR. I want this now, So I kind of donned the headset, stuck the headset on, and was instantly wowed at the cross-media bar running in the VR headset. So this is like a 120-inch screen, and you can see the cross-media bar. It's slightly lower resolution, but it just looks amazing. So you've got this cross-media bar is just in your eyes. So I stuck my headphones on, put my sound...
So when did you know to put the headset on? Did it sort of say on the screen, now it's time to put your headset on, or something like that?
No, because on the cable that's going into the processing unit, there is a little box halfway, which is white, and it's got power on, mute, volume up, volume down buttons. So I just plugged that in. And stuck my headphones on. So I had my VR. At this point, I was still running the cross media bar. So that, and then I kind of went along, hit PlayStation VR Worlds, and then boom, it kind of opened up. And for the first time, I got that stomach flip.
Wow. I quite like that.
I was like, oh wow,
Because it transcended from the big screen effect to the full 360 immersion. That transition.
Exactly. Suddenly I was just, it was all very black either side, and then suddenly I just went into this hub area of VR Worlds, but that hub area had things flying around and lights lighting up, and I'm looking all around my house going, oh my God, this is amazing, and it was just,
it's
just absolutely just superb. Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, and I was instantly just transported to this place. So I thought the first thing to do would be to try the ocean descent. I've been hearing about ocean descent for years.
Yeah,
maybe 18 months we've heard about.
Oh, can I just ask? Sorry to interrupt, but did you have the earbuds in, or did you just leave your sound coming out of your speakers?
No, that's what I'm saying. I plugged in my sound cancelling headphones. So I've got a pair of Bose headphones.
How did they work? Because my mate who's tried one, he said there was no room for headphones because of the way that the headset fit. He said he couldn't see how it would work, but he only had a quick go.
Works absolutely perfectly.
Does it go over the top or underneath?
It does. The band around your ears is so small that the headphones work absolutely fine. So I've got them at the same kind of crack as I do when I'm wearing them normally. So the same kind of width that when I'm doing them normally, and then I just plug them into that little splitter.
And it doesn't let any light in because of the headphone thing over your head or anything like that?
No, absolutely. It just goes over, and they're lovely because they're the ones I like because they kind of cover your ears, so there's no sound leakage, and it didn't move the VR headset at all. Over the weekend when I've been playing, I've played it with surround sound, and then I've had it with the headphones, and there's no difference to the headset. So it's not moving the headset; they fit. And I've tried both of my sets of Bose Sound 35s, I think they're called, something like Quiet Comfort 35s. So they're the ones I'm using, and I've got two pair. I've got cordless ones and the corded ones. So I was just trying those, and both of them just work absolutely superb.
And do you find a difference between the headphones and non-headphones? Because I mean, yeah, what do you prefer?
I prefer headphones because I find that, and also Nicola she had a go, and I'll get to that in a moment, but I find that it's not as immersive.
Yeah, because you can hear the other stuff going on. So if you had people round, you'd obviously leave the volume on your amp and what have you, so the other people, your guests could hear, but the person in VR, you'd give them the full immersion with the headphones as well, would you?
Absolutely, 100%.
Interesting. It's just that I haven't been doing that. I've been just leaving it as the sound from the amp, so maybe I should give the person who's playing the full immersion. Sorry to interrupt you there. I just wanted to get the full picture.
Because I'll jump to that, because I did do that with Nicola, where we were on Sunday, we were having a quick go. I was a little bit under the weather Sunday, nothing to do with VR, just a flu, and so I said, Nicky, you have a go, and I left her off with headphones, and even she was like, well, I could really do with, the sound is more kind of immersive when you have the headphones on. So for the rest of her experiences, she had the headphones on. So I stuck my headphones on, went in, and I thought, right, I'm going to do Ocean Descent. Went in, so I'm very much kind of just like, I knew Nicola was about 45 minutes from getting home, so I was just there, and I was absolutely blown away. So instantly you're just transported to under the water. This is the headlight around your diver's mask is mapped to your head-mounted device. So as you move that around, in game, the light is kind of lighting up the cage and lighting up fish that are swimming all around you. I'm instantly doing that thing where I'm kind of trying to grab the fish that are in front of me. Absolutely blown away by how amazing Ocean Descent was. And then we have the bit where the shark attacks the cage, and that just looked amazing. It was just like, and the funniest thing that I found myself doing was there's one bit where you're going down, they go, oh look, there's a wreckage down there, and I leant forward to look through the holes, through the gaps in the cage, and I was doing that in game, and that just started to blow my mind, and I'm like looking all the way around, doing the whole 360, and it was just absolutely superb. So I kind of did that, and the funny thing was while I was doing that, Nicola had got home from work. She'd obviously heard me kind of going, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" from like down in the movie.
And luckily, all you were doing was playing PSVR.
Well, exactly. So she was like, so I kind of came downstairs, and she came downstairs, and I'm just in VR, and she so obviously, as you do in this day and age, she whips out her phone and she starts recording me and taking photos. Now what she found was that the photos were so because I had the light off, they were really bad. So she turned the light on, but I didn't know that she was in the room or had turned the light on. That's how there's no light leakage in the PlayStation VR headset. It was just so good. And then so I kind of I get to the end, and it's really funny. And then there's a video that Nicola has on her phone. I haven't got it off yet, but there's me. I literally at the end of this experience, which was the Ocean Descent, I'm there just clapping. I'm just going, this is just amazing, and I'm clapping at my TV. And of course, because Nicola could see that now that experience has ended, she then kind of rubs my shoulder, and I just jumped so high. It was just like I just screamed because I didn't even know that anyone was in the house, let alone kind of in the room. So that really kind of that really scared the crap out of me. But apart from that, it was so cool. So I instantly I wanted to see what someone else thought of it. So I gave Nicola the shark encounter as well, and she was hilarious in it because she is a little bit claustrophobic. She never wants to kind of dive or do anything like that. So this was I was kind of pushing her a little bit, kind of doing this. And I said, look, at any point, just say the word and I will press the option button and I'll take you instantly out of it. But she was loving it so much, and to one point when the shark appears, because it swims around you a few times, she said to me, she goes, "Can you hold my hand?" So I had to hold her hand because that was taking her out of the immersion, but she wanted to continue the experience, but she wanted to hold my hand, and she was screaming so loud. It was hilarious. I thought the soundproofing wouldn't hold up, it was so good. So she did that, and then so when that had finished, she still had the head mounted device on. So I said Arkham had finished, and I'd already done the first thing of Arkham. So what I said to her was, I did that at EGX. So what I said to her was like, instead of watching me for the first time and know what's happening, why don't you just suit up as Batman and have a go? And she was blown away by Batman Arkham VR, because there's something about Batman Arkham VR. The graphics are incredible. That first time when you kind of the mirror comes down and Batman's kind of moving, you're moving your head, you're moving your arms, and Batman's doing the same. It's just so magical. It just is, especially for me as a Batman fan. So
on the subject of the visuals, though, just to ask, I always give, when people are going to go on Vive for the first time, I always sort of try not to overhype them by giving them the caveat that this isn't going to look like the games you used to. It's not going to look like Forza. Just to temper that expectation a little bit. So when you say it looks amazing, how does it look in comparison to what you expected and compared to something that you'd play on the PlayStation normally? Does it look more blurry? Does it look clear? Is there a bit of blur, motion blur when you look around, or does the scene hold up? Things like that. I'd really love to know all that.
Yeah, I mean, playing Arkham VR, so playing Arkham VR, I would say that this is comparable to, bear in mind, like, when you see Nightwing for the first time, he's as tall as you, and I'll get to a point in Arkham in a moment that was really impressed me, but, he's as tall as you, and when you're still, it's crystal clear graphics. The graphics they are impressive graphics, they are Arkham Knight graphics, they are very good.
If you lean in, does it get more detail? And if you lean out,
it does.
Yeah. I spent a lot of my time just looking at blocks, things like that, really close.
And it's really interesting because, like, when Nicola was playing, you go down to the Batcave, and on the side, on the back computer, there are some Joker cards, there's a syringe with blood, and she was bending down and looking in, and she was picking it up, and just watching her kind of doing the motions, going through the motions. But one of the funniest things, and I am kind of going all over the place, but one of the funniest things was I got her to play PlayStation VR Worlds, and I got her to do the London heist. So she did the London heist. She had no idea what it was. She hadn't seen me play it, so she did the London heist. Got very scared when the guy is shouting at you and very much leaning in. I kind of noticed her whole body was very much kind of like, she was very tense. She was very kind of closed and close. And then it goes to a bit where you're in this East End pub, and there's a cigar on the table, and there's a lighter. So first thing she does is picks up the cigar. You've got your Move controllers. She picks up the cigar, lights the cigar, and then she starts like smoking. And I can see what she's doing because it's on the screen. But she's then smoking. But it's not only is she kind of doing that with the cigar, but she's actually inhaling and exhaling because on the screen you can see smoke coming out, and she was doing that in time with that, and it was just really bizarre. So she was like really into it. I got a bit worried because there's one bit where you then start shooting, and you have to pick up the gun with your right hand, and then you could then pick up a clip once you're out, and you feed the clip into the bottom of the gun. She was doing that, and she was just really loving it. She was like, take that, and she was really going for it. And she just said, she goes, that scared me. And there was the interesting thing at the end of London Heist, there's actually a decision that you've got to make, and she couldn't make the decision because she thought that it was so real, because all of her senses was thinking that this was real. And the graphics on London Heist are absolutely awesome when the detail on the characters are just amazing, and because there was this option, she couldn't do it, and she ended up reaping the consequences of not being able to answer the final question, which afterwards really just sparked a big debate between the two of us about kind of how amazing and how dangerous VR could be, because when she first picked up a gun, she was like, oh, I don't want to shoot anyone. But then later on, when there was guys shooting at her, and she was someone was driving a van, and she's got an Uzi out the window, she was just mowing these people down. So she went from, it was a bit like Drake, or the first time he shoots someone, he's like, oh, I don't like doing
Lara
that.
Croft's transformation in the reboot.
Yeah, the first time Lara takes out that deer, she's like, oh god, I don't want to ever do that again, and then she just kills millions of people after
This
that.
is fun.
Exactly. So back to kind of Arkham. Arkham is very good graphics. They are amazing. Occasionally you might kind of just lose it slightly. It might go a little bit blurry. But most of Arkham, you are very still. You're just looking around. And for me, the first time I fired up Arkham, what they didn't show me at EGX is when you fire up Arkham, the first thing you go to is that crime alley. So you're with your mum and your dad, Martha and Thomas Wayne, and Joe Chill is coming at them to kind of to murder them. And the thing is, you're playing 8-year-old Bruce Wayne, and I felt tiny. I'm 6 foot and change, and I felt tiny because all of the character models were so large. The alleyway where it was just raining on me, and the neon signs, everything just looked so big, and it made me feel just so small, like half the size I am, and it was really interesting. So, and then the scene plays out, they get killed, and then Joe Chill kind of leans into you, and it's as scary as hell. He leans into you, and I'm just there looking at him, defiantly looking at him. And then you go into the game, you see the Penguin, and one thing that I really did love with Arkham VR was, at one point, Penguin's goons appear behind you, and you have to turn around full 360, and then you have to look at them, and then the bat plane takes them out. So I'm facing away from the camera, facing away from the TV. I'm looking at all three guys, and then as I look at them, it tracks them down. In comes the bat plane, which was incredible when that happened, and it just took them out. And then it's just so, I mean, the graphics are just, I mean, every time I play it, I suddenly just get transported to Gotham, which is something that I've wanted to do all my life. It's just incredible. It really is just mind-blowing. And then the rest of the game is what you have to do is it has a point on the screen, and you can just look at that, press your button on the front button on the move controller, and it will just almost just go to that, just jump to that point. So there's like the first encounter where you got to do some forensic work, and you just jump around this alleyway, rewind and fast forward time, and it's just incredible. The graphics are for Arkham VR, the graphics, and some other games I've been playing as well. The graphics are just mind blowing.
Fantastic. And did the tracking hold up when you say you spun around full 360 at times? It didn't lose the move controllers?
Only if I had the move controllers kind of in front of my chest when I was all the way around, one of my hands went a bit funny, and started doing a little bit wobbly. But apart from that, it was absolutely fine. And I find that especially, it's quite funny because when I was playing with Nicola, I was like, oh, we'll have the light up, so we can see what we're doing. And then she was like, oh, are you able, because we never really have the main light on in the house, in any rooms. It's mostly lit by like lamps and things. And she was like, oh, do we have to do this when you're playing this, because this is going to be really annoying? And then when I was playing on Thursday with a friend of the show, Manny, he was going, actually no, if you have it dark, it's going to work better in the dark, because it's all about lights, it's all kind of feeding from lights. So, which was really cool, because I was playing it until I think about 1:30 in the morning on Saturday. Awesome. And it was just so good. So Batman Arkham VR, if you've got PlayStation VR, or if you've got access to one, try the Batman VR, because it's incredible. It is just absolutely superb, to the point where you can access the back computer, and this shows how good the graphics are, because you can access the back computer and you can bring up life-size models of all the characters, and one of them is the Joker. And then on to your left, you've got these tapes, and you can put in a tape, and they do different poses. So one's like the Joker points a gun at you, one's he's laughing, and another one is really menacing. And it actually made me nervous. It actually made me nervous. So, which was really bizarre. So I was like, quickly took that one out, and I was, it's just so good. Honestly, I'm so impressed at how good the graphics, the fidelity, and everything is. The other games I played are things like, so I played a lot of the VR worlds. I played Scavenger's Odyssey, which is just amazing. You're an alien, and you're in like a mech, and then you have to first break out of the hangar in your mech. So you take out things, you pull locks off of a door, and then you fly around in space, a bit like Eve Valkyrie, and then you kind of land on a planet. And then the first time you land on a planet and you move up, and then you can just see, it's almost like Halo, but suddenly you're in this world. And it was really funny, because on Sunday I said to Nicola, try this, because I wasn't doing it on Sunday evening. So I said, try this, and she tried it, and I could see it on the screen, and I was like, how amazing is that? It's fantastic, isn't it? And she was like, it's just so good. And then when she finished, I just popped it on, and I forgot, because I'm looking at it in 2D, I kind of thought that's what she was seeing. And then when I put it on, I was like, oh my god, it is just every time I put PlayStation VR on, I'm blown away again.
Yeah,
which is absolutely fantastic. So I played 100-foot robot golf, which is fantastic, and you can play this in VR or outside, in VR or in 2D outside of VR. You can play that, and it's really funny because I fired up 100-foot robot golf, and which is an awesome game, by the way. It is just absolutely superb. So I fired it up, and it was giving it to me in the cinema mode. And I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be, because I listened to an interview with the devs, and they were saying where you're placed in, and I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be amazing. And then I noticed on the menu, it was like press triangle to go into VR mode. So I pressed triangle, and then suddenly I was 3 foot tall, and there was a 100-foot robot just about to play golf. It was just like, I was like, wow. And then as you're playing the game, you're actually perched on the robot's shoulder. I think you're in a deck chair on the robot's shoulder. I think there's what the dev said, and it was just, that is just absolutely fantastic. And like I say, the game, playing golf on the moon in a giant robot, and the robot, the team that I chose is 4 dogs controlling this robot. It's mad, but it's absolutely superb.
Is that another good one in regards of scale and perspective?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I say, when I started, I was like, I was just there seeing it in 2D. I hit that triangle button, and suddenly I'm standing, and I actually had to sit back, because I was sitting at this point.
Awesome.
I had to sit back to look all the way up to see the top of this robot, and I was just like, oh, wow, and it was absolutely superb. So I had that. I also played Super Hypercube, which
love that title, Super Hypercube.
Oh, it's Super Happy, and the Super Hypercube is really cool. It is just, it's almost like that kind of quick kind of 5 minutes. You fail, you start from the start, and basically what it is you have a shape. So coming at you is a wall with a hole in it, and you have blocks that every time you go through the wall, through that hole, you get an extra block. But the problem is the block is really kind of right in your face, so you actually have to lean to look around the block to see what shape you need to turn your shape into. But and this is all very kind of, it's all very orange, it's all very kind of Tron-like, and the music is amazing, and it was so good, they do and whenever you get to the end of a level, you just break through that wall, and there's shards go everywhere, and you're just like, oh, this is amazing, every time. And so it was just like, it was absolutely superb. And then, I won't go through everything, but I kind of, other games that I played was Battlezone, which is just incredible. That is a game that is really cool. I played Riggs. And I also played Drive Club. Now, both Riggs and Drive Club made me feel a little bit queasy. It's like I've got to get there. I think like what you were saying ages ago on the pod when you got your HTC Vive, it's almost like you have to earn the right to get there, and I think I have to earn the stomach to get there.
Get your VR legs on.
Exactly, because Drive Club, I mean, saying it made me feel queasy. I did 3 laps in a Ferrari, which is amazing, because as I'm driving, I'm actually looking in the Ferrari, looking on the back seat, and it was just incredible, and I really enjoyed playing it. But it made me feel, and again, I'm kind of, all weekend I was suffering big time with the flu, so it might be something to do with that, but it was making me feel kind of, giving me hot sweats. But again, it may just be because my body's kind of full of flu at the moment, so it might just be kind of some of that. But Riggs is very fast, again, very smooth. It looks a bit like Mirror's Edge, kind of, that kind
clean
of
lines,
very smooth.
aesthetic.
Yeah. Exactly.
It sounds good, that, and it looked good. I remember seeing the trailer for that. I was thinking, now this is a game that looks good. It's the mechs game, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that is really cool. Like I say, Battlezone, which is the old tank game from kind of way back when, but now kind of realised in full VR, is amazing. And then, so I also played a couple that kind of need a bit of a mention. Was Tumble VR, which is you build blocks.
Oh yeah, the Jenga one.
Yes. Really good game, really good fun. That's just on the demo disc, so I just kind of played a bit of that. They got a bit of a sarky computer sidekick, a bit like kind of Portal. Very cool. And then I also played, the other two that really kind of need a mention is Wayward Sky. I played Wayward Sky, and Wayward Sky is a point and click adventure, but you're in VR. And
would that be a sitting down or standing up game?
That's a sitting down. So very much kind of a sitting down. So you're sitting down, and it's very kind of cartoony graphics. But you're just basically sitting down, and you can just look around, and right at the start, you kind of seeing it from the eyes of the protagonists, and this giant robot just kind of drops down on a platform and just stares at you. And the robot was incredible. I just wanted to pause the game there and just like look around the robot, because this giant robot was just amazing. It's something out of Big Hero 6 or something out of Pixar, and it's just really cool. So then what you have to do is then like kind of you point and click at things, and to kind of get your characters to move to the next point. And that was just a demo, but that's definitely a game that when I'm going to get more time, maybe at the weekend, I want to play that. I want to buy that game because that was absolutely superb. So that was kind of Wayward Sky, and I highly recommend that. If you like a kind of point-and-click puzzle thing, it's beautifully rendered and looks just absolutely superb.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic that there's how can I put it, an item now that you can buy that's not out of reach of many people, within reach of many of consumer, that can transport them into a universe that when me and you were children was really... I don't even think... Well, science fiction had only just thought of it. Really, they could take you away to another universe, and I don't think for years that had even been sort of linked to video games until such things as like the early the 90s VR thing and the Lawnmower Man and things like that. I don't think I'd ever thought of it before that. And to think that now this is an item that you can buy as an add-on to your, or it is a platform, but as an add-on to your PlayStation. You know, that's obtainable for everybody at Christmas that wants it, and that they can visit worlds that as a child, or just, you know, if you're a child already, of characters and books and films that you are so passionate about, and as long as the software's there, you can go into these universes and see the real sense and scale, like you were saying about Batman, of all these places. I think for me, even now, every time I put the HMD on for my Vive, it blows me away the same. When I meet a character in a game, I'm always in awe. You sort of take it for granted. They put a lot of work into like the 3D modelling of characters in games all this time, and you do appreciate it. But there's nothing like seeing it as if it's really there, as if you're really there in a room with this character. Because even though it might not be as good in its fidelity, it's sort of more than made up for in its realism and the immersion, isn't the fact that they're there, and it's just so like you said. They can be taller than you, or you can be given the perspective of a small child or a 100-foot robot. It's just amazing.
No, indeed. I mean, the guy in the London heist, you got kind of like this kind of chunkier Jason Statham kind of like character who's very menacing. You know, he walks around on a mobile phone. He walks around kind of in the background at the start of the game, and then he's shouting at you, swearing at you. You know, and at one point he almost kind of like breaks from the shadows and just puts his face right in, and it made me jump. And Nicola just kind of really jumped, you know, and at one point he kind of gets a blowtorch. It's a real kind of harrowing thing. She's like, why are you making me do this? And it was just like, but she absolutely loved it. But she was like, why are you making me do this? But she was like, there was the blowtorch, and she was just, it's just so interesting just to see her kind of a fist just clenched, you know, and a fist and a body just closed up, and that's because this perfectly rendered 3D person who the lip syncing is perfect. He just was in her face, and she just said, I thought he was, you know, it tricked my brain that I thought he was real. And I've even heard that people, I was listening to a podcast and they were saying that they smell smoke. Like when they're doing the cigar bit, they actually smell smoke, and that's because their brain is just like being tricked. But I mean, the two things, London Heist and Batman Arkham VR, if you want realism, if you want really good graphics to show off this thing, they're the things. I mean, when anyone comes round to my house, I'm going to be just kind of go, right, you got to put the deep dive thing on. You know, I want them to kind of do that. I want them to do Batman Arkham, because they're the ones that really kind of give you that. But the last one, and I know I've been kind of very rapid on it, but I am just like blown away by this thing. But the last one, which was, it was an icon in the PlayStation Store that was just kind of like more PlayStation experience. I think this was included in the VR demo disc for the US, and it was a game called Allumette, I think it's called, and this is available on HTC and also on Oculus as well.
I haven't heard of it.
But it's basically a story. It's a story of this orphan girl who lives in the clouds, in the city in the clouds, and she sells these kind of gorgeous little matchsticks, and so you basically just transported, and you're just watching this story being played out. And as you're watching this top level, think of like a bit like a BioShock Infinite, but very kind of Pixar-y, very kind of almost a stop motion movie. and it's all being played out in front of you. And as the main area of this town in the clouds is happening there, but if you look down or behind you, there's other little kind of cities. Again, a bit like that kind of in BioShock Infinite. As you can see these different little sections of town in the clouds, and it's just so lovely. And at one point, you and your I think it might be your parent is in this little ship, and you can hear it coming from behind you. And then as you look, you just see the ship go right past you, and it was just such a beautiful experience to just sit there and just enjoy this experience. It's almost like you just have your controller, you just press X every now and then, and there's no game to it. You are just kind of watching this kind of unfold in front of you, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was just absolutely stunning.
And there's going to be many more like that. You'll have to send me, because I'm not sure how to spell that. You'll have to send me that on a link. So if it's available for Vive, I'd love to have a go.
Absolutely. If it's, I'm pretty sure, because I was like, "What is that?" Because before I jumped in, before I downloaded it, I was like, "Right, I want to find out what it is." So I just had a quick, and it had a Steam link, and it was a HTC Vive. So I'm sure I will send you that link. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. I'll drop all the games I've been playing. I know I've kind of been very kind of fast on it, but it's absolutely stunning. I was a little bit worried kind of before I opened the box, because there was I know James and yourself, we did have some trepidations about it, just because Sony had been very quiet. They hadn't really marketed it in the UK. I think they were doing more in the US. And also, I was a little bit worried, because there was always that kind of trepidation with that big purchase that it might not live up to scratch, or there were other media outlets that had been given their PlayStation VR, and they were very kind of quick to dismiss it. I think they got it like 2 weeks before it came out, and the first week they're like, "Yeah, we got PlayStation VR," and they were being very crass that they got PlayStation VR. And then the next week they didn't say anything about it. Yeah, I played a bit of VR. But I kind of think that might have been down to the fact that the two factors. That one, they might have been overwhelmed with games, because I did start, at one point, I was just jumping around all the time. And I think another part maybe because maybe you're not as invested in something if you don't part with your own hard-earned cash.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
So when they were they were like, "Oh yeah, we've got it," to the next thing not talking about it, I was thinking, is this going to be another fad? Am I going to get into another Connect? Am I going to get into another Move where you get something and it's cool for a weekend and then you never play it again? Luckily, I can wholeheartedly say that PlayStation VR is not like that. When I'm not playing PlayStation VR, I want to just play it. Like I say, if I hadn't been as ill as I was, I've been playing it a lot more, but I played it a lot. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I played it a lot. And it's still sitting there. It's in the movie room. I haven't put it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a bag. I've got a little case for it, and that's going to go into like the gaming trunk. But at the moment, I quite like it out. I just want it there because I like looking at it.
It's hard to display an HMD, isn't it?
It really is, because this has got a ginormous cable attached to it.
Well, so's mine, actually. Yeah, it's trailing out the back of it. And what I had a thought about this, and I haven't followed it up yet, but I'm thinking about, those sort of like mannequin heads that you get in
yes.
Like, they have a hat. If there's a hat shop, I've forgotten the nice name for a hat shop, or a shop that has wigs, for instance, they'll have a little sort of polystyrene head. Yes. And I think that would be awesome to stick your HMD on, but I don't know if it could tastefully be done.
Well, saying that, I mean, there is, like I say, I've got a bag for mine, but there is also a charging station for the PlayStation 1. I don't think it's official. But there's a charging station which is this kind of black stand where you put the HMD on, and then the two Move controllers slot in and they charge. Yeah. Because obviously the big foobar that I did was I just bought those. They turned up with the VR. I didn't charge them, and of course they have to be plugged into the PlayStation to be charged. So I didn't have long. So luckily we kind of we did 2 lots of the Shark Encounter, then Batman VR, and then we had some dinner. And by the time we finished dinner, they were charged up again.
Yeah. So, that's good. So not a long charge then.
No, not a long charge, but it was. And like I say, and setting it all up, all of that worked fine. It was the first time I plugged in a camera. It was the first time I plugged in 2 wands. All of that, just kind of very much there. Hats off to Sony, because it was just very easy to set up.
Yeah. Now you can buy. What's the minimum you could get away with? Could you just get the headset? And if you did do that, what kind of experience would you have?
I think you need a headset and camera, don't you?
Okay.
Surely.
Okay, so you'd say that's the minimum, but can you buy the headset without the camera?
Yes, the headset doesn't come with
I
the
suppose
camera.
that's just for people that have already got the camera then.
Yes.
That's why they've got that skew. Okay, so without the Move controllers, is it kind of... Would you advise people really that you wouldn't... They really say they should just get the Move controllers, or would you say that if their budget only stretches to just the headset and the camera, that they could get away with a good time with that? Or would you say really you want to just wait until you can get the whole thing together?
I mean, I think some games like Arkham... Games like Arkham, games like London Heist, they all work better with Move controllers, but on the menu it actually says that you can play it with the joypad as well.
Okay.
So you could play it with the joypad.
And would you say it would be worth it, or do you think you'd always have that niggle? I mean, me and you probably would have, but would you say generally you'd just be thinking, this? I know they say better with Kinect, but this is truly better with Move, isn't it? It sounds like that.
Super Hypercube only plays with a joypad. Things like Battlezone, things like what was the other game I was playing? Some of those only play with a joypad. But when I tried Tumble with a joypad, and that wasn't as good. I think that would be better with the Move controllers.
Yeah, you'd need that precision, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
And talking of that, then, how precise did the Move controllers feel in your hand? Were they wobbly like we were scared they would be? Or did they... I mean, if you're going to play Tumble, I imagine that's going to be a good test, because that's going to need some pinpoint accuracy to place the blocks, or remove the blocks, without knocking over the structure.
Yeah, I had a wobble every now and then. I think when I was standing up. When I was standing up, playing Batman Arkham VR, I had no wobble at all. That was absolutely fine. That was really good. I had no problems whatsoever. When I sit down, I did get a bit of a wobble when I was playing London Heist just at the start. And I think that's because at one point I was sitting... The great thing about it was at one point I was sitting back, and then I wanted to sit forward. So obviously I've moved my position, and all you need to do is hold down the option button, and it just recalculates, just reconfigures where you are instantly.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, because again I was doing it on maybe Battlezone, and I was sitting forward, and then I went to sit back, and then suddenly I'm inside my mech now. So I just pressed the option button, and it just reconfigured straight away. So I did find that sitting down, but I think the one problem that I have with it is Saturday morning, I'm playing it kind of like it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on my own. Nicola's gone to bed ages ago, and so I'm sitting back, and I needed to rejig the camera, but the problem is the camera's all the way over there, and I need to find out where I'm sitting, so you're kind of constantly up and down to get that perfect sweet spot. Because the camera doesn't move, it would be really good if there was like a little bit of a gyro on the camera that you could actually kind of move it up and down, but you have to manually kind of do that and then go, right, okay, am I sitting... Obviously once you get that sweet spot, you're sorted.
But then if you swap to another player, they really have to sit where you were sat.
Yes. Yeah. And it does that because, like, a couple of times when Nicola and I kind of jumped in between, it was like, oh, something's different here. Are you still PS-Chessman, or are you someone else? And then you could then pick someone else and go, right, you're that person. So I now need to do this. So that was quite cool. A bit like Kinect again. It was like kind of like it recognises that there's somebody else.
Cool. Oh, that's a nice touch.
But like I say, all in all, I can't wait to play more this weekend. I can't wait to play more this week. And I am just absolutely blown away by how amazing it is, And I just can't wait for the Star Wars encounter thing to come out as well. But there's so much more that I want to play. Like I want to play more Super Hypercube, more 100-foot Robot Golf. They're the kind of actual games. They just feel really good. James has been saying how amazing Res Infinite is as well, so I want to kind of get that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds really good.
Yeah, and Thumper as well seems to be getting a bit of a thumbs up as well. So there's still quite a lot for me to play right now, and there's going to be even more games coming out between now and the end of the year. But I think even just with the games that I've got, I've got enough to keep me going. Yeah,
you mentioned like how sort of Kinect felt against this, and this feels like you much more want to do this, and you much more want to. You've got that sort of desire to play more, and I'm just the same. And I think the thing is, I was thinking about that. I was thinking of all the peripherals I've used, and the Move when it came out, I got all the peripherals because I always want to get on the new cutting edge stuff, see how it works. But all of them, I think Move was better than Kinect. It felt more responsive. But even on the Wii, even with Wii Motion Plus and stuff, after the initial sort of buzz wore off about how good and different it was, it did sort of cease to it definitely did cease to blow me away. So it was just a matter of, we'll play bowling. But it was like, it's just bowling. Kinect, I never really loved that much at all, because from the minute I started it, I found it to be lacking. The Wii was probably one of the best things for instant, just pick up and play without any problems. Mm-hmm. But out of all of the peripherals that I've used, nothing has ever, like you say, gave me the desire to just go in and back in, and never cease to sort of awe me with wonder as VR. So that's where I'm hoping. First of all, I hope that it doesn't wear off, and secondly, I'm hoping that that's where the sort of the gimmick breaker is, if you like, and that's where it'll show that it's got legs and that it'll stay for the long run.
Yes, absolutely. I totally
and it's Generation 1 as well, remember? You know, that PSVR that you've got, that's a first-generation piece of kit. I think it's a great achievement.
Oh, absolutely. It's stunning. It's stunning. It's light, it's easy to put on, it's easy to jump between people, and it's just fantastic, and it's just to find that sweet spot. It's very easy for that next player. So just like when Nicola put the headset on, it's very easy for her to just kind of like, she said, it's a bit blurry. So I was like, okay, we'll pull this in, push your back strap down a little bit, and so she did a bit of a wiggle in it, and she's like, that's much better, I've got it now. And she was shooting, so there wasn't any kind of, let me see what you're looking at, there wasn't any of that kind of configuration. It's very pick up and play, it's very kind of easy. I can't wait to get to someone like my dad on it, just to see what he thinks, because I think he'll be blown away by it.
I was still trying to get my dad on. My mum's well up for it. She has a goal. I think my dad's sort of got some degree of trepidation. I think maybe it's because he saw how scared my mum was on the Brookhaven experiment.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, don't worry. I won't give you the zombie claw attack or anything. And I just haven't got him on it. So I'm in the process of trying to coax him in. I don't know how. I just don't understand that.
Yes.
How he could not. Because for me, it's just like, let me at it. I want to go. I want to experience this. And to be of a generation where he can just say, nah, it's just it confuses me.
Indeed.
But yeah.
I'm very interested to see what a horror game would be like, about how my heart will be able to handle a horror game. I know there is
Kitchen, is that free to download at the moment?
It is indeed. The Kitchen is free. I have it downloaded. I just haven't got into it yet.
Yeah, they're pretty bad, the horror games. Without VR, I sort of gave up trying to play horror games on my own years ago, because I just get too scared. I get too immersed. So like, even Resident Evil, it's sort of. I remember I think I was trying to play Code Veronica. When it first came out, I played it on my own and completed it 1 and 2. And then I got a bit older. I was playing Code Veronica on Dreamcast, and it just gave me the creeps, and I stopped playing it.
Yeah,
because I got to a stage where I'd be just stood still. Because I'm expecting dogs to jump out of the windows or whatever, and I'd be just like, if I carry on up this corridor, something's going to happen, and it was just a battle of nerves, and it's just like a million times worse in VR. I did a 360 video thing called Catatonic, which you'll probably have access to, because there's loads of award-winning 360 videos, and I'm sure PSVR will have a portal into that. And this one's called Catatonic, and that's a horror experience where you get wheeled through an asylum, and you're strapped to a wheelchair, and all sorts of uncomfortable things are going on. And I did that on my own, and I tell you, I nearly came out. I nearly lifted the headset off and just thought, nah, I'm not doing this. But I felt really brave for doing the whole thing. But there's something about the immersion that, like you said with Nicola, all that immersion, all that presence, like you were saying when you're there in Gotham. And it's just so much more real, even though it's more blurry than sort of any kind of video that we're used to watching. This must have been the equivalent of like 480p, but it didn't matter. It was disturbing, and it was wrong, and it was awful. But at the same time, I was amazed and sort of really impressed how scary it was. So there's so many experiences that we're going to get to have a go on, and there's going to be hopefully things that we haven't even thought of yet, that these clever guys are just going to. They're just going to all of a sudden spring on us, and we'll all be like, now that's the true purpose.
Yes. I'll tell you one thing. Well, my last kind of thing about PlayStation VR that I will talk about was, again, Manny kind of sent me a message on Friday, I think it was, and he was like, "Have you tried your Xbox One through your PlayStation VR yet?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" It was like, "Yeah, if you plug up if you put the HDMI cable from that normally goes into your TV, if you plug that into the processor unit, you can actually get kind of the Xbox working." The Xbox One working in VR. So you're basically looking at that theater mode where you have this 120-inch screen where you actually have to move your head to look from one side to another. Wow. So I was just thinking, how amazing would Viva Pinata be in that? So I fired up the Xbox. I fired up Forza, and wow, it's like playing it in a cinema, and it worked. It worked fine. It worked absolutely superb. It's just like a little bit less, lower res. Than I'm playing, obviously, on the HDR 4K TV. It's a little bit lower res, but it worked. It worked really well.
Any lag? Or was there no lag?
No lag at all.
Oh, that's cool.
It just worked.
That's awesome.
It was just so good because you just basically just got a headset on. I've got my Xbox controller in my hand, and I'm just looking at it on a ginormous screen.
Right. So you go on holiday, you're on the plane, you take that with you, plug it into your laptop, bang, you're in the cinema on the plane.
You're done. It was so good. And I was thinking, I'm going to watch a movie in this. I did fire up our live action, our live podcast that we did, our video podcast that we did, to see what you and I looked like in a 120-inch screen.
Oh, scary.
We looked damn good, I tell you, but it was just so cool. That was cool as well. I was like, what can I watch on YouTube? And I was like, obviously, Gamers Lost Spark, and I was like, so I fired that up as well, and it just looked really good. I
wonder if that would work with any 360 videos.
Well, there is an app on the store which I downloaded, had a play of, where they've got they had one from the Brazilian Olympics, they had one where you're in the outback and some guys playing with some tigers, and they were really good. They were really good 360 videos, so they were just absolutely amazing.
So, if you could you think of anything equivalent, sort of mind-blowing thing, like N64 moment, getting your first PlayStation? Is this up there with them, or not quite as good?
Oh, absolutely. The one thing I think I was talking to you about it was the one thing that I underestimated just how amazing this was, and what I should have done was I should have treated it like a console launch, and by that I should have had a day off. I should have had Friday off of work, or we actually took the previous week off, and because I just not dismissed it, but I was like, yeah, I'm getting PlayStation VR, I'll play it on the Thursday night, wait till the weekend. But I was blown away so much that I was kind of kicking myself that we should have taken the next week off rather than that one, because I would have loved to have just spent the whole Friday just doing nothing but playing this, because I find that, like I say, I was up until 1:30 on Saturday, and I found that I wasn't getting eye strain, I wasn't feeling tired, I was just invigorated by it. And so I really underestimated just how amazing this was, because I should have treated it like a proper platform release. And for me, I think it's kind of up there with the first time I started playing Mario 64, and when you suddenly realize that you can just run around that castle and you can just do anything, and it was kind of that. It's that kind of moment, it's that kind of, wow, this is incredible. But yeah, it's just absolutely superb. It really is. Just I am absolutely blown away.
Yeah, I said it many times, I think, in the run-up to VR. I mean, we've been talking... What do you mean you didn't know it would be that good? You've not been listening to me for a year now?
No, I have, a year and a half. I just, for some reason, I just kind of
doing?
Parked it as a priority. For some reason, I was just like, no, I'm fine. And I should have learnt, because, I Skyped you on the next day after you had your Vive, and you were still you were playing it all day, and you were just so excited. What I should have done, there's a moment I pre-ordered, I should have gone, I'm having that day off, which is what I normally do. When the Xbox One came out, day off, I'm here because I just want to take the day off to just enjoy this, because whenever a new console or a new platform launches, there's so many different experiences that you could do, and it's really nice just to kind of have a day off to just play with that, rather than a couple of hours in the evening.
Yeah, and that's why I was a little bit sad, because I knew that if I'd got one, I'd have that day again. Because that's what it's like, and it's something so good, and it sounds that it works really well, and I'm sure I'd be happy with it, and I knew that I'd feel like that again. It was like, wow, you're going from wow to wow to wow. I love that, and it's just so good, and I was so happy that day. And yeah, it's great. I'm so glad that it's more accessible to so many more people now, and like you say, with 25 minutes set up, that's not bad. It took me about 2 hours So, there's a big difference in accessibility there, and it's great for VR. You see, I'm not like one of these people that's like, I've got a Vive, I only want Vive to sort of succeed. I don't really care what VR succeeds, as long as VR improves and hopefully it stays with us for the long term and gets better and refined. I really don't care. And Sony having it seems a very strong launch. You can't get them anywhere. That makes me want one more. I'm one of those people. As soon as I heard you couldn't get them, it increased my desire. I'm such a muppet. It increased my desire by about 90% that I wanted one. But they've had a really strong launch. They've already got that installed base. There's obviously interest there. Microsoft probably just sitting in the wings, waiting, watching, and thinking, this looks like it could be a goer. So if Sony succeeds, Microsoft probably going to do their thing. And it's just great for VR as a whole. We said, 2016 is year of VR, and now we've got all the systems out there, and it looks like we haven't really had hands-on with an Oculus, but between us, see, I'm a bit sad we haven't both got the same, but we cover more bases, don't we, having both?
Yes, absolutely. And Sony have reported that the launch sales seem to be in the hundreds of thousands. So over this weekend, hundreds of thousands of PlayStations. And like I say, they are out of stock, but they are continually. They're saying like if you can't get one today, if you go into Game or GameStop or wherever you go and you can't get one today, then try again next week, because they are constantly manufacturing these things as quick as they can, and they are putting them out. So there will be continual stock between now and Christmas. Amazon, I think, at the moment are 15th of November, which is very interesting because I think that's kind of around the same time as PlayStation Pro. So they'll probably have some restock about that time. But again, you could just jump in, pre-order it, and you can kind of get it whenever Amazon kind of get a bit of a stock refresh. But they are out there. But the analysts, the Michael Pachters and the likes, are saying that there could be up to 2.5 million PlayStation VRs by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's incredible. I mean, there's 44 million PlayStation 4s, so it's still a very small percentage, but just the fact that there's 2.5 million PlayStation VRs just means that more and more developers will take a chance on that, because you have the potential of a 3 million sales. So, that's why they will plump for it. So it's just fantastic.
You've got and connections through friends lists on PlayStation Network, and just word of mouth. It's just so much. It's not like, oh wow, that's amazing, how can I get this? It's not like, well, first of all, you've got to buy a PC. Then you've got to spend like all night setting it up. It's just like, well, you've got a PS4 because you love your games. You could just buy one.
Yeah,
and that's just so. There's just a magic about that. It's just so simple. It's just so elegant for people to just be able to get it. And you got yours on launch day, as did hundreds of thousands of other people. That's a launch.
Yeah,
that is the best launch. They've done the best launch. I think they've done the best marketing. They've got the best games roster. It's really good. I've got to hand it to them. It's fantastic, and that's all good. You know what, these launches like mine, I was waiting weeks and weeks for my Vive, and I was one of the lucky ones, of the poor Oculus guys that are waiting months and months for their Oculus.
Yes.
We're in an age, or I expected, and I got a bit scared, but I really didn't expect my fears to have any founding when my Vive didn't appear for weeks and weeks. I thought I'd have a bit of worrying, just a bit of an excitement thing. I thought I'd get it down. Inside, in my heart of hearts, I was like, yeah, I'll have it day one, because I ordered it within 8 minutes.
Yeah.
But no, and the same with Oculus, it cocked it up. Whereas the Sony launches seems really elegant. Elegant. Maybe a little bit, not as much fanfare as we'd expect. Maybe they thought the technology will speak for itself.
Absolutely. Again, it's how do you market this? How do you market this? They've got campaigns with people kind of playing these amazing graphics with a little bit of white across their eyes, so in the adverts, they don't really make sense. I think now that there's 200,000 out there, I'll tell a friend, and I'll tell another friend, and that sort of stuff, and
connections will be made.
Yeah, your podcast like ours or YouTube, even YouTube won't be able to. It's just like, if you're interested and you have the means, then I would say go for it, because it's just fantastic, and you won't regret it. It's one of those things where you just won't regret it. So I think now, just like Sony's marketing will be the people that have PlayStation VR, because you can bet that anyone who's kind of got it. I mean, Nicola's gone into to her work, and she's gone, I played this and I did that. So even she's kind of like a little bit of a marketing machine as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I know that plays VR, they just go away mind blown, telling everybody about it.
Exactly.
It's just awesome. It's like the future is here, available now, for $399.99, and I just can't imagine how amazing a Christmas morning would be for somebody to get one of them. I think it's just the best present.
And, the great thing about having that Christmas morning is that, when my nephew got his Wii U, it took like 2 hours, 3 hours to set up, where if you've got a PlayStation already, or even, you imagine the kid that gets a PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR for Christmas, that is just one special kid, that is your mind's going to be blown. But it's just absolutely fantastic. I am more than happy with my purchase, and I just like to say, I can't wait to kind of get back into it, and especially at the weekend, I've got like a big time that I can I've got a nice chunk of time where I can just kind of jump in, and I'm just going to continue playing kind of what I'm playing. So Daz, what have you been playing?
Well, how can I follow that? It's slim pickings in comparison. I found that at the moment there's nothing really that grabs me. I don't know if you were surprised that I didn't get Gears. I mean, I was surprised myself.
But absolutely, I was shocked when I messaged you going, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you getting Gears early? You're like, do you know what? I'm not going to get it." And I'm like, "What?"
I'm becoming. It's weird. I don't know what it is, but some games that I have loved for years and years and years, I'm slowly just not feeling it for them. And Gears didn't call me. I just thought, it was weird. I don't know what it is. I like Gears. I love Gears, in fact. But there's something about it. I just kind of think, I don't know. I just thought, and you just got to, don't be too angry, but I just thought, same old Gears.
No, and it's so not, and that's the thing that kind of is like.
But
really
it so is.
It isn't, honestly. It is the episode 7. It's like saying, even though episode 7 maybe follows.
Don't say that. Don't convince me.
But even though episode 7 follows 4 slightly, it's still fresh, and that's what I'm finding with Gears. I mean, kind of jumping over kind of you, but what on Friday night, Nicola, James, Manny, and myself, we jumped into Horde. So we played Horde. It was really funny because Manny and James hadn't played Gears yet, so they were very much kind of noobs. And we jumped into Horde and we played an epic 4 hour Horde match where we went from level 1 to 50, and it was possibly one of the best gaming experiences I've had. It was funny. Nicola was shouting at everyone. We were getting each other up. There was only a few levels where we got stuck and we had to restart it, and right at the end, we were like hankered down in a barn and we were taking the last boss out, and when we finished, it was just absolutely superb. It was such a great encounter. And the cool thing was, James, Nicola and I were all playing on our Xbox Ones. Manny was playing on his PC, and so obviously he had Master Race 4K graphics, but we didn't know, so it was okay, and it was playing so well. The communication worked really well. We were chatting the entire time, but it took 4 hours. So we started about 8 o'clock. We finished just after midnight. We were absolutely knackered.
I love that. It sounds awesome.
I tell you what, my eyes hurt. It's really funny. I played PlayStation VR until 1:30 on Saturday, but on Friday, when I finished this 4 hour hyper Gears of War Horde campaign, Horde match, my eyes hurt because it's like, because you daren't take your eyes off of the screen at any point in time.
But VR doesn't give you the eye strain, but Gears does. I love it.
It was really funny. I had to, like, Nicola and I were like, well, we're going to bed now, because I just had to close my eyes because they hurt.
Bleeding.
But it was so much fun. James, Manny, and Nicola, we all did really well. We were a really good team together. We were kind of getting each other up. We were staying close together. No one was running off. It was just such a great encounter. And I tell you, we did the levels 1 to 50, but it gets hard. Gears gets. We were missing that 5th player because we needed that extra player, I think, to help us. But we were putting up barriers. We were repairing them because 3 of us were engineers. It was just so much fun. It was really good. It was really good fun. So we got that. that achievement, that level 50 achievement, which was just absolutely fantastic. We were all very proud of that one. I kind of tweeted that out because I've even stuck it on my showcase, because that is like, an achievement to wear with a badge of honor, that level 50 of Horde.
Yeah, especially with 2 new guys as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was really good.
Yeah, the thing for me is that, like, Gears 3, I'm a campaign guy. I love my campaign.
Yes.
And with Gears, I'm not much of a multiplayer guy either, really, but I love Horde mode, as we were chatting before the pod. And I went through Gears 3, and by the end of it, I was just kind of like, it didn't emotional. I mean, expecting emotional engagement out of Gears is probably a bit of a tall order, but I didn't feel that. I don't know, like the same euphoria that I felt after 1 and 2, and it sort of felt like it fizzled out a little bit. I felt a little bit, not shortchanged or anything, but I just thought, well, it's totally Gears, but I don't know. I sort of like, well, I wasn't as bothered as I thought I would be. So I sort of that, even though it's been a while and it's been a few years, I just don't feel like I'm ready for Gears again yet. But like I was saying pre-pod, if only I could buy Horde on its own. Because I'd be well up for that, but I just don't want to spend 50 quid just for Horde. That's the thing, really. If I could just get Horde, I'd be there. But for some reason, and single player buff as I am, I can't even tell you really why, apart from my flimsy explanation I've just given you. It's just, I don't know why. And Gears of War isn't pulling me towards it. I'm not that bothered about Last Guardian because I'm expecting it to be dull. It's bad. It's bad.
You're being way too picky. I mean, like I say, the Gears of War campaign is one of my favourite campaigns. I kind of have it up there with whatever one has Razor Hail, which I think maybe 2. That one where you're kind of in that area, and it's all, that must be 2, I think. And I think it's up there with the heady heights of kind of 2, and I think it's potentially, I will go on record and say it's one of my favourite Gears of War campaigns, if not my favourite campaign, because it just is so good.
Is it really? Or you're blinded by the HDR and the 4K? That's what it is. It looks beautiful.
I'm not even playing it. I'm not even playing it in HDR.
Oh, 4K, no, you're playing it.
I'm on the small TV.
Oh, right. Right, that's it.
There were moments.
It's like, Daz, I'm playing it on the black and white portable, and it's still amazing.
It's 4:3. It's really funny. There's some moments in there, and the question that we had, the great question that we had last week, which was, do you have to buy it? Do you have to have played the other ones? And I said no, and I stand by that. By playing 1 to 4, 1 to 3, and Judgment, there are things that you get out of it. There are certain points in that game that when you do something for the first time, you are just like Nicola and I were like whooping and hollering. It wasn't just because we were hyper on Marks and Spencer's jellies. It was because we were just really enjoying the game, and I've played every single campaign with Nicola, and we were just really into this one. We were just like, this is just fantastic, and for me, I like Judgment. People give Judgment a harsh time, but I like Judgment. And Judgment's a good fun because it keeps going backwards and forwards. It's a bit like a Tarantino version of Gears of War, but for this, the Coalition have really got their feet under it. They're not going to get with Episode 8, we're going to see a different movie of Star Wars, and I think with Gears of War 5, we're going to see something different, and I think this one is that safe pair of hands to say, look, we understand this game, we understand this franchise, we've got this, but the next one, I'm expecting to have my mind blown, but this game was just absolutely fantastic. But there's no rush to get it. You don't have to get it right now just because it's the new hotness. Wait for it to come down in price after Christmas or something like that, and then maybe go then and maybe just give it a chance. Give the campaign a bit of a chance, because it's.
I'll probably buy it for Horde.
Really good.
If you're still playing, I imagine you'll be playing Horde forever, really, on and off.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I'd pick it up just for that. But I was just a bit gearsed out. I was just like, not really bothered about Gears. It's all right. It passed me by. But I can't deny it looks amazing. It looks amazing, and I'd probably enjoy it. But I don't know. I am choosy. You're right. I'm in a choosy mode these last maybe this whole year. It's like kind of games have got to really, really appeal to me to make me go out and get them straight away. And because I'm in the middle of other games as well, makes it harder. Because it's like I sort of try and balance that with the fact that because I like to finish games. I'm in the middle of Deus Ex, Forza Horizon, I wouldn't say I have to complete that till I'm getting another game because that's all over the place. But being in the middle of Deus Ex, and there's still stuff to do in Dark Souls 3, but really Deus Ex, I sort of just want to complete that. And so that sort of holds me back because I know what I'm like. When I start getting too many games, none of them get finished. And I don't like that.
Yes. But, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It's not going anywhere. There is a lot of pressure for people to get games, and I'm part of that. I have so many unfinished games. There's lots of pressure, but for us, for Nicola and I, Gears of War is a bit of an event, and it's quite funny. I would have been uber critical if this wasn't up to speed, if this wasn't up to par. I would have said it, but the fact that it blew me away, and even halfway through, I said to Nicola, "This is something special," and she's like, "It really is. I'm really enjoying it." The fact that we kind of had that moment, and we are really, it took a moment to get to where we wanted it to, but when it did, we were just in love with this game. And you're right, you don't have to get it right now, and I'm going to be playing Horde forever. There's so many maps available, and I've got the DLC, so I've got the season pass. There's going to be more maps kind of coming, and so I'm going to be playing this for a while. So after Christmas it'll probably drop in price.
Yeah, the next, if I have nothing to play, I'd maybe pick it up, just for Horde, as I say. And if I've got it, I may as well have a go on the campaign. But yeah, I love the fact that it's a big event for you guys, because I'm losing more and more of those kind of events. Like Uncharted 4 was an event for me. Every Uncharted game was an event. Every Mass Effect game was an event. Halo used to be an event, but that sort of diminished around about Halo 4 for me. So I'm losing these. I'm falling off with all these events, and I need some new ones to hook me in with, fresh campaigns and fresh characters. I was hoping that Recall would be like that, but I sort of went off that. I'm in a desolate wasteland, and I need a game to grab onto.
Horizon Zero Dawn will do it.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, that's definitely on the radar. Yeah, and Dark Souls is going to carry me through to there, but it's not the same because it's so sort of bleak. I want something it's a roller coaster with a ripping yarn, with a beautiful story and a great ending, and makes you go yay. It doesn't matter if it's cheesy. I mean, I used to love Gears. It's like, yeah, come on, sort of thing. So hopefully Horizon Zero Dawn will be just that sort of cup of tea. And Dishonored 2 may be very good as well.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I'm finding with Deus Ex as well that isn't gripping me as much as I expected it to. I should be way past completing that by now, and it is amazing the way that you can tackle the missions in it, but I've sort of got no interest in the background story.
Right.
Which I'm finding a bit odd. So yeah, I'm sort of in a bit of a vacuum at the moment. But I'm sure the spark may have faded a little bit. It'll be reignited with the Dark Souls DLC that's coming out. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's a long way away. Dishonored 2's coming out as well. So yeah, it's probably in wake of all this sort of these thoughts. I didn't know what to play the other night. I was thinking, and I played a bit of Forza, and I just thought, I don't know what to do. And I thought, I don't want to play Dark Souls because I didn't want to play something hard. I just wanted to play something and relax and enjoy it. And I was like, what shall I play? And I thought, well, I can't play Overcooked because that will just be a massive relationship trial. So I decided that I'd play Rise, because I bought Rise ages ago on PC. So you remember it was a launch game on Xbox One.
Yes.
I liked it then. It got slated quite a bit, but I enjoy it. And I just wanted something mindless, and it really is. But the version on the PC has been optimised for 4K. So I thought, I bought Rise, didn't I? And I looked through my Steam list and I saw it, and I was like, I'll have a go at that. So I pumped all the settings up, put it in 4K, and started it. It carried on from where I left it off months ago, because I got stuck on a bit because I put it on hard. I know I didn't want to play something hard, but Rise isn't really hard, but anyway. And I played it, got past the bit that I was stuck on, and just enjoyed just sort of doing the QTE battling where you just hit the right colour. It doesn't matter if you don't hit the right colour, you still just plough through. And it's just nice to just sit back and be sort of quite in awe of the graphics. And I really was. I was like, look at this is amazing. And that was just what I wanted. I just wanted to see something beautiful and not be so bothered about it. And you could argue that's exactly what Gears 4 is, in a way, couldn't you? That's funny. Indeed, it's like Gears isn't gripping me enough, so what do I play? I'll play something else that looks beautiful that I've got no interest in the story. I should have just got Gears.
Would Gears run in 4K on your PC?
Yeah, I think it might do, because actually Manny sent me over, because I'd mentioned about the benchmarking in Deus Ex, And so he sent me over. He went, look at this data from Gears of War 4 on PC. And it did massive menu with all the ultra settings and stuff. And I was like, wow. And it showed his rig, which is a cool rig. And I think he was on, I forget his graphics card. But I think mine could touch that, yeah. I think I'd be equal or a little bit below Manny's. So, yeah, I'd be all right. And that, I must admit, when I saw that spec readout, I was kind of like, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I try to be I'm trying to resist impulsive purchases, but it's very difficult. And I'm always weakening. It's like with the PSVR and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to concentrate on one thing at a time. But games seem at the moment, because I've got a few things on that are taking me longer to get through, which means I'm not getting through as many games as well, which doesn't help. But yeah, I wish that Gears was split and you could get Horde on its own for like £20.
Yes,
I'd love that.
Yeah, absolutely. If they £20 for campaign, Horde, and multiplayer, and then if you wanted, there was like a deal to lump them all together.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So really, for me, that's all I've played, and then I'm looking forward to playing. I've got a review copy of Serious Sam VR, which has just come out. I think it was released yesterday by Crow Team.
Right.
So, Serious Sam, if you've heard of it, it's a fine FPS that's been around for a long time. Crow Team have made a VR version of it. I've got to bow to their integrity. The story goes that Oculus offered them lots of money for exclusivity, just with the Oculus pathway, but they refused it and went with their hearts because they believed that Vive was the way to go for it.
Right.
So I think, when I read that story, I thought, crikey, they must be, I don't know, have the courage of the convictions, really, because it'd be tempting to take the money, wouldn't it, and just do it for Oculus. So I'm really interested in how that works. So that sort of seems to be, it's like a first-person shooter game where you use the controllers as guns and you can sweep the guns out and have chainsaws and things like that. Haven't played it yet, so I'll report on that next week. But yeah, that's me. Not many games for me this week.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as I was talking about Gears of War, and that was fantastic. So we finished the campaign. We had that epic Horde battle. I've been playing Forza Horizon 3. I'm just kind of ticking off the achievements at the moment. I've upgraded all of the festival sites now, so I've done that. So which was kind of the next point that I was getting to. I think my next point now is to get to level 150. So that's kind of my next one. I think I'm something like about 140 right now, so that's the kind of next thing that I want to do. One thing that was quite interesting, that when I've been kind of like jumping in and out, like double tapping and jumping out to the achievements to have a look at the ones that I'm interested in, I found that if on Xbox One, if you double tap, go off to your achievements, and then as you're looking down your list of achievements, if you click on it, you can actually set them as your favourites. So you can actually say, right, these are the 3 achievements that I want to tick off. Like, I want to drive down every road, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you can mark them as your favourites. And what that will do is it will push them to the top of the list. So when you're looking at the achievements for Forza, then it will just show you the ones that you've got as your favourites will appear at the top.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
No, I didn't know that. I mean, because for me, because it was really funny. Because I was saying to Nicola or somebody, I was saying it'd be really cool if kind of similar to Destiny, that you could say, right, I'm tracking these achievements, and then whenever you kind of increment towards it, like drive down all the roads or get to the level, it'd be really cool if they popped up in the bottom right hand corner and just said, oh, you're getting closer to this achievement or getting closer to that. But then I found that you could mark them as favourites. So that's kind of halfway there, but I might actually put a suggestion on feedback at xbox.com to see if that would, to put that suggestion in there to say the kind of achievement tracking, because even though I'm not a big achievement hunter, I find that I play Forza through the achievements. Like, there was an achievement to get to level 150, so that's the next thing I'm doing. I've got about 640 of the 1,000 available at the moment, so I've still got a way to go, but there are some in there that I just kind of want to like go, right, I want to get to there. I want to do all of the races, the head-to-head races and the midnight races. That's another one. So I've marked those 2 at the moment. They've marked those as favourites, so they appear at the top.
Yeah, that's the beauty of achievements and trophies to a degree, where if you really love a game but you kind of feel you've really done everything in it that the game offers on its base or on its face, the achievements can guide you in a different direction and give you much more much more playtime with a game that you really love. Where instead of thinking, I'm just repeating myself, there's not really a goal. achievements give you that goal, don't they? And
absolutely, because if you think about it, once you've unlocked all the festivals and you've done that, you've pretty much kind of it's almost like you've done it. But there's so much more available around that map. But some people like me would probably go, right, I'm going to go and look at something else now. But the fact that I've got the reach level 150 and take 300 photos, which I'm kind of 94% of the reach 150 and 89% of the 300 photos. So I'm very close to those. So you're right. It's just spurring me on to do more and to do different things as well, because with the photos you've got to take unique cars, so that means I've got to start driving in cars that maybe I wouldn't drive in, because I need to take photos of the cars that spawn around you when you select that one. So it's making me change my play style.
Have you decided that you're going to 100% achieve this one?
I don't know if I'm going to 100%, because there's a few things that could be like pretty tricky. But I'll kind of get as close as I can.
I'll tell you what I was proud of. You've probably done this because you're like on this loads, and I've not played it as much. I think I'm only level 49 or something. But I got the XP board that was on top of the roof of the barn. Have you got that one now? Yeah,
I have. Yeah, I've got all of those and all of the fast travel ones as well.
Oh wow! It took me so long to drive and just hit the hill perfectly to get the height. And did you have any tips for that, or did you just trial and error it?
It was just trying to. The tip that I did have was play it in single player mode, and then use rewind. Because what I was doing was, as I was jumping off, going, I haven't hit it quite right. So I just rewound a couple of times and then just readjusted my angle slightly, went for it again. Oh, no, just need a little bit more. Then I just kept rewinding.
That'd save me some time. That's a good tip.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of trying it, because you try it, hit the barn, and then you drive back round again, and then you try it again. So all I kept doing was using rewind, especially the ones where you've got to jump off a cliff onto another mound of earth, around the 12 apostles on the map. I had Nicola helping me with the angles, but then when I was doing it, if I wasn't quite reaching it, rewound and then go, right, okay, I need to move over just slightly, and then just did it that way.
I haven't tried that one yet. I look forward to it.
So there you go, Forza Pro tip. So, should we get on to the news?
Yeah, I think we should.
Like an hour and a half in. But it was PlayStation VR that was just like, it's too good to just skip over.
It's well worth talking about.
Indeed. So let's start the news section, and in this week's news section, a Spark favourite, which is Overcooked, is getting an update. Rockstar had just a big tease, and also we're going to be discussing game buying habits as well. But Darren, the first piece of news, sir, is with you.
Thank you very much, sir. So do you remember when the PS3 came out all those years ago? It had that thing about it that it had Linux on it. You could do your own development, you could program in Linux, etc., etc. And then months later, or a year or so later, an update came out and patched it out. They didn't want it. I think maybe because it was you could exploit it to run homebrew and things like that, and it's potentially a portal to hacking the console. But nevertheless, it was something that they made a big noise about at the launch, didn't they?
Yes, indeed.
Right, and so it stopped. Well, some people in America got up in arms, and there was a class action lawsuit against it, and the result's now in. So there's been a result for that class action lawsuit against the Linux operating system being patched out of the PlayStation 3. What has happened, this is from PC Mag, is that people who owned a PS3 can claim $55 from Sony in compensation.
Right.
For being sort of, conned out of an operating system, as the argument goes. There's some stipulations. You had to have a PS3 that could have run Linux, which is the old original fat one. Which, that's fair enough, isn't it? And yet, in the US, and it had to be that you owned it in between the 1st of November 2006 and the 1st of April 2010. Now, here's the kicker. You've also got to supply proof of purchase as well as ownership or use of the Linux on the console.
Wow.
I don't know how I'd prove that. I never used the Linux anyway, but I don't think I could. I've got my PS3 lying around. I couldn't prove ownership of it. I ain't got my receipt. I suppose I might have if I went back on my internet banking.
Yes, that's what I was going to think. Old credit card statements might say, Amazon for whatever price that was.
But how are you going to prove that you used Linux on it? difficult, isn't it? So it seems a bit, I don't know, it's kind of like, yeah, we're doing something, but actually everybody gets $55, but you've got to sort of stand on one leg, hop round in a circle.
Rub your head, rub your tummy, pat your head.
Yeah, it's like, if you can't do that, you're out of there. You can also get $9 if you argue you were going to use Linux.
Oh, right.
Or you feel that the console lost value because of its removal.
Oh, wow.
But that's only $9. I actually did think that it lost some value just because I may have used it. I think it was always something that I wanted to look at. I never did get around to it, but I wanted to look at that just to see. And there was a period where I was getting quite involved with Linux. I was doing a Red Hat certification at the time, and it would have been interesting to sort of, you know, have a look at the Linux on the PS3. So anyway, if you're interested in the US, the deadline for submissions is the 7th of December. So find your proof of purchase and find your proof of using Linux, and you could get yourself a game out of it.
Wowzers. If anyone does actually tick all of those boxes, please let us know.
What a waste of time.
Someone's got a selfie of them with Linux in the background.
Yeah, it's like with the receipt in one hand and their finger on the keypad, like a USB keyboard plugged into the PS3 with Linux on the screen, then you might qualify.
With a T-shirt saying "I heart Linux."
It's like trying to win at the fair.
It really
is. About as much chance. It's like you'll come in at anything between this row and this row.
They've nailed down that coconut.
You know that the coconut is well nailed down.
Sony have nailed down that coconut. Speaking of coconuts, I don't think there's actually a coconut in this game, but anyway, fan favourite, as I was talking about right at the start, so Spark favourite, Overcooked, which is amazing couch co-op experience and marriage tester, there's a boxed version that is coming out, or actually is now available on Friday. I saw that we got an alert saying that Overcooked, the box version, is now available to buy in stores for $19.99 if you're in the UK. I should think probably with the exchange rate, it's probably going to be the same in the US as well. So we've got Overcooked, the box version is out on shop stores right now. Interestingly, it does actually come with a dollop of extra content. So this edition is called Overcooked the Gourmet Edition, and it does come with extra DLC, which is called The Last Morsel. And what The Last Morsel does is it gives you 6 more levels. It gives you a new world, some new characters, including a robot and a dinosaur. I'm sold already. And also it gives you 6 more levels as well. So it gives you a new jungle-themed kitchen, 6 levels to play. So this is all available right now via the boxed copy. The DLC, The Last Morsel, will actually be coming out for digital owners. So for everyone who kind of bought it up until now, will actually be coming out. And I think Will and I had this little tidbit because we got chatting to the Overcooked developers when we were at EGX, and they told us that this was actually happening, but it's now out. So The Last Morsel, which will be coming out on the 15th of November, and it will be priced at, again, kind of UK price, it will be priced at $3.99, so probably about $5 in the US. So that's actually coming out for people that own it on the PlayStation or Xbox. So that's kind of coming out. So I'm just so excited about that. It was quite funny. I reached out to the Overcooked developers to just see if it was a separate set of achievements, because I was working from home on Friday, and I just said to Nicola, if they come back and say it's a separate set of achievements, I want you to pick this up at game on your way home, and then we'll play it. I'll tell you, PlayStation VR almost got sidelined for the weekend because we would have been playing Overcooked again, but they came back and said it's the same set of achievements. So if you bought the box copy, it is just the same achievements that you have already. So it's nothing new. Obviously, then I don't know if there's going to be new achievements for the DLC. I didn't ask them that, but that would be interesting. But that doesn't matter with that game. I just want to play 6 more levels and just enjoy that last morsel of Overcooked.
Yeah, and we're obviously waiting for the Overcooked VR game that we made up last week, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. See, that would be so cool. Overcooked 2 VR experience.
It could happen. Do you think when getting a box copy is kind of an accolade? It's because it's gained enough attention, it's gained enough sales? Do you think there's something about that, or is it just random?
I really don't know. I think it's quite nice that it's kind of because it's
enough interest of people saying, "Oh, we can't download it. We're the masses that can't download it for some reason, so we need a box copy." And there's enough of them clamouring together that they get a box copy out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe some people have bad internet, they don't have internet at all, or it's capped. But Overcooked's quite a small size game anyway. But for them just to kind of have a box copy, I was very tempted to buy it just as a bit of support because we had so much fun out of it, and I know I already bought it.
Just have something tangible on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I was still into box copies of games, I would have bought this just to have it on there as a kind of alongside all those other great games that I love. But because I'm more kind of a digital person now, it doesn't really make any difference for me. It would just go in a trunk anyway. So, but yeah, no, it must be. Maybe it is just that little kind of there's enough, there's a need, there's a want for it, so they're just kind of bringing it out.
Yeah, perhaps. But yeah, Overcooked's fantastic, and even more Overcooked, even better.
Yes, indeed. So hopefully maybe they're making Overcooked 2 as we speak with even more fun, and then even it comes with the free divorce papers.
Yeah, the bond breaker.
Yeah, exactly. Superb. So Darius, the next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, next up is the information that Nvidia has revealed their pricing in the US anyway for the GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti graphics cards. Ooh. These are the cheapest level of the Pascal architecture graphics cards that you can get for PC. And, the prices are pretty competitive. Now, these cards, the GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti, are probably about the equivalent or maybe a touch better than what we're getting in our consoles at the moment. So that gives you an idea of the performance. Roundabout, that's a bit of an estimate. So how much are these? Well, amazingly, as technology moves on, we're looking at $109 for the 1050 and $139 for the 1050 Ti. So to have the kind of power of a PS4 for that price, it's surprising. It's really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
These are going to have really good overclocking capabilities as well. So they are a great card for building a budget PC and having that extra breadth to sort of overclock it up. It's probably going to be round about an equivalent of the NVIDIA GTX 950 card. So it'll be similar to like what that was. So the budget card, but then because it's Pascal architecture, it's going to give you a lot of extra power there, and you're going to get that flexibility as well. So, I mean, it looks like it's going against sort of a direct competitor with the Radeon RX 460, which we've spoken about before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at that price point, it's it's good. It's a lot of power for the money. I mean, we don't know in old money that'd probably mean it'd be sub about £90 for the 1050, but who knows what it'll be these days. But yeah, a little bit of information on the specs of these cards. The TI has got 768 CUDA cores, 1.39 gigahertz boost clock. It's got 128 memory interface. Memory config is 4 gig GDDR5. Memory clock 3.5 gigahertz. And the processor is the same on both Samsung 14nF. But the main differences between that and the 1050 that isn't a TI is you get less cores on the 1050, 640 instead of 768. You also get less memory. You get 2 gigabytes instead of 4 gig on the card. But yeah, if somebody's looking for a PC, I don't think it'll quite run VR, but maybe it would run some VR, but you probably wouldn't have the full gamut of experiences there. It probably run basic stuff. But if someone wants a cheap PC that's going to run, current games at a decent enough sort of frame rate with some compromises, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. Really, I just think it's the price of graphics cards in this category with the overclocking and that you can do with them. I just think it's really cool, and it's something that it amazes me really, the power that you can get for the money these days. I know that everything gets better and sort of the price halves, doesn't it, year on year? But it's really cool.
That's just so good. Yeah.
So over to you, sir.
Well, the next piece of news is an interesting one, and this was that Rockstar Games of Grand Theft Auto fame and Red Dead, they started teasing on Sunday. They just, out of the blue, I think about 2:00 in the afternoon, they just stuck up a logo. So it was a red background with a Rockstar logo just sitting there, and that was it. That's all they did. There was no hashtag, no announcement around it. It was just red logo with a red background with a black Rockstar logo just kind of sitting there. So I instantly retweeted this. Obviously, it could be, could this be Red Dead? Could they be? Finally, we're getting a sequel to Red Dead, which would be Red Dead 3, I guess, because it was Red Dead Redemption was number 2. So I was like, are we getting a sequel? Now this tweet was quite interesting. We tweeted it, and then it was actually tweeted, not for us, but it was actually retweeted about 200,000 times from Rockstar. They said this 200,000 times, and then on the Monday they tweeted another picture. This one was the same kind of red background, but this time it was a sunset, and it had 7 figures kind of walking towards a sunset. So they kind of, again, no explanation, just an image. So it's very kind of Magnificent 7. And then they then have since tweeted one further tweet saying that, as if we didn't know already, that Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out, and it will be coming out, which is quite surprising to me, but it will be coming out in fall 2017. So there's actually going to be, by the time this pod is released, which will be Thursday the 20th, there will be a trailer coming on that day. So if you're listening to this pod when it drops, there's a look out for the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer. That's going to be this. It's going to be around 11 a.m. Eastern time. So that's probably about 7 p.m. GMT, or roughly around about that time. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is a thing. So quite interestingly, you can go onto Rockstar Games website. They've got that image, a closer up version of the seven figures kind of walking out of the sunset, and it just looks fantastic. But there's actually a pre-order button that you can click on, and we can pre-order it even for like fall 2017. You can pre-order it on both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And interestingly, the bump around it is developed by the creators of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an epic tale of life in America's unforgiving heartland. The game's vast and atmospheric world will also provide the foundation for a brand new online multiplayer experience. So this means it's going to be, maybe The Division, but with a bit of Red Dead. That's got me excited. Yeah, absolutely. That's got me. That's got me excited. The fact that it might be kind of something like that. Play Red Dead, play it single player, but you can also kind of jump in with a band of 6 other people and play Red Dead online
with your online posse.
But what do you think? What do you think of the announcement? I thought it was quite exciting. I love the way they did it.
I love the way they did it. Yeah, I know. I love the way they did it, and I was so convinced that this was going to be a game that I was going to save for Christmas morning. I thought it was going to be released imminently.
Right.
And I sort of think, what are you doing it now for? The announcement's fantastic. Fall 2017, announce, do exactly the same. Don't do it now. I wish you'd saved it till like August next year, or July next year, and done it then. Yeah. And then it would have been like, only 2 months to wait, hooray. But once I saw fall 2017, I was just like, crikey, I really thought that they were going to, I think you said, do a Fallout 4 on us. And It wouldn't be, I thought with Rockstar, I thought it was going to be soon, because I don't know, why so early? Did you notice as well, the pictures, they look like they're paused video rather than like standalone artwork, because you can see the artifacts on the pictures. Like in the background, like the blurriness of the red, it looks pixelated like a video artifact. And it's sort of, they're in the same place on each picture.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's as if they've paused each bit. So it's as if they've got the trailer ready. And what they did, they just like sort of, the first red screen was, they paused the trailer. And then the Rockstar logo, they paused the trailer. Because if you look, you can see the artifacts. This is all my investigation before it drops, sort of thing. And it was like, yeah, look, they're going to play the trailer in a minute, which they are going to play a trailer on Thursday the 20th. But yeah, I can't wait. I was saying that I was a bit like looking around for a game to play, and I was like, this is like a bolt from the blue. awesome. I can't wait. Please, please, please be out. And it's like, the only downside of it, I mean, it's great that it's coming out. And it's great to have it confirmed. But it's just like, another year. But yeah, definitely something to look forward to.
I can't believe it's so far off. I really thought they were, as I said, I really thought they were going to do Fallout 4. I thought at the most it would be spring, summer 2017. But the fact that we're going to have a whole E3 between this and that, which means we're going to have, because the thing with Rockstar games is they market themselves. You could just put Red Dead Redemption 2 out today, tomorrow. You could put it out and you would get, as you saw, they got 200,000 retweets. You would get a lot of people that would just buy that there, and then you could then kick off your marketing campaign after that. And I know that's just selfish because I want to play it now, but that's exactly what they can do. They can afford themselves on both that and also Grand Theft Auto.
I'll tell you what, they could redeem themselves. What do you think of this hypothesis? It could be coming out at the same time as Scorpio.
Yes.
So, in that case, all is forgiven, hooray.
Could be, could be. I wonder if they are
Scorpio
going to...
launch title.
Yeah, with better graphics on Scorpio. Plays better on Scorpio.
Yeah, we're hoping, but yeah, 4K 60 on Scorpio.
Wow,
man! I'm a win anyway, but yeah. I'd be racing out, to get that. So that makes there's a bit of disappointment that it's not imminent. If it was something like that, and when they revealed it, I mean, we're going to see this trailer. I don't think they'll be announcing anything to do with Scorpio in that trailer. But when we get a bit closer to Scorpio's launch, if it's something extra special for Scorpio, that would be pretty cool.
Yes, I mean, Rockstar don't typically go to E3, or, you don't normally kind of see their games. Sometimes you'll see them in a sizzle reel, but that's about it. But imagine if they did, they kind of for E3, Microsoft stage, they kind of got up and they said, this runs better on Scorpio, or runs better on PlayStation Pro, or something like that. That would be very, really interesting. That, a game from Rockstar could easily tip the scales as well, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There was always...
Oh, go on, mate.
No, I was going to say, there was always talk that Rockstar they owed Sony a console exclusive. Now, obviously, this isn't, because the pre-order screen takes us to PlayStation and Xbox, but I thought that I'm sure it's Rockstar that owe Sony a exclusive.
Oh, interesting. I was just going to say, about you saying it better on PlayStation Pro. Do you think boxes in future, when Scorpio comes out, are going to say better on PlayStation Pro, even better on Scorpio? Standard on PS4 and Xbox One, better on PlayStation 4, even better on Scorpio.
So when we get those adverts for Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty, they kind of right at the end they go, better on PlayStation, and then they get another voice that comes in and goes, even better on Scorpio,
and then the other one says, what are you talking about? We start having a fight or something.
And then the third voice is like, yeah, but it's even better on PC.
Yeah, well, I was just going to come to that, but it only says Xbox and PlayStation, so the poor PC massive, all the voices crying out again are going to be ignored by Rockstar, but they did such a good job on GTA 5, even though you had to wait for it on PC. I mean, have you seen the footage? I've never played it on PC, but I've seen the footage, and it's to die for. So maybe they're going to give it that.
Some of the mods as well that come to the PC version on Grand Theft Auto are stunning. There's some mods that make it look like... It's like... I've seen some of the mods that run on Battlefield as well to make it... Some of them just look real. It looks like you're watching a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. So it's kind of worth the wait for the PC guys, as long as they know they're getting it. But then I was going to add... If it's coming out on Xbox, will it be Play Anywhere? So it will be on PC.
Well, who knows? Because that's up to the kind of discretion of the publisher, isn't it? Because not every title is Play Anywhere. At the moment, it's only Microsoft titles. So at the moment, the only Play Anywhere ones are Forza, Gears, Recore, and I think that's it. I mean, when you look at there's a Play Anywhere logo, and it has those three games. I think it also has Sea of Thieves and Halo Wars. It has those in the lineup. So, the other games like, what's another game that's coming out this year? Watch Dogs 2 is not Play Anywhere.
So it was just a first-party commitment?
At the moment, it just really is just the first-party commitment.
Okay, that's a shame, because I was thinking, wow, it's coming out on Xbox, it'll automatically be on PC, like Gears. But never mind.
I mean, hopefully one day that will happen, and you will. But obviously, EA or Activision or whoever's going to put that game out, they have to be prepared to lose some revenue. But surely no one's going to buy it on Xbox and then buy it on PC as well, or vice versa.
No, you'd pick your system and that would be it, wouldn't it? And maybe that's a bit of a tactic for drip feeding its console first, because there'll always be the impatient people, me included, that couldn't wait for it to come out on PC, and you grab it on the console. Then when you see it on the PC, it's that much better that, there's a real significant temptation to get it there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I know this is on backwards compatible, but because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a year away, I'd love them to release. I'd love them to just release Red Dead Redemption remastered. Yeah, with that zombie add-on as well. I'd love them to do that, and I would happily play that in the kind of spring.
Yeah, and I've sort of forgotten the story, but the hype, the recent hype about Red Dead 2 that we've just experienced, did have me thinking, maybe I should just buy that and play the old game again on my Xbox One. Because, it'll get upscaled a bit on the TV. And I remember I really enjoyed it. I like the old westerns, and I'll never forget that moment of crossing over to Mexico and that guitar playing. That's like one of those moments. And I was thinking, I did enjoy that. But it's sort of, I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it until this kind of came back.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and I'm not sure. I'm actually just trying to Google it as we talk. I thought maybe that on backwards compatibility, it got a little bit of a graphics bump as well.
I think it did.
Not just your TV. I think it does actually kind of make things load quicker and actually kind of give it a little bit of just tiny, maybe bumps the frame rate or something like that.
A touch more flair, perhaps. Yeah.
Yes, and and you could probably walk into CEX or look on Amazon, and you probably get it really cheap. You probably even buy it digitally.
Well, you could
really
before it came on backward compatibility. They pushed it up a little bit when they did. There's a little trend of doing that. But I never played the zombie DLC either.
Right. That was really good. I played that standalone because I kind of played the game. That you won't be surprised. Anyone won't be surprised to hear that. I played the game, got distracted by something else, so never finished the Red Dead campaign.
Hooray, how's Witcher 3 going?
It's got dust on it. Digital.
It's old hat now, mate. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And then that DLC came out. And I played that all the way through, and I really enjoyed that. That was just absolutely fantastic. That Day of the Dead or whatever it was called. That was really cool. But interestingly, with all of the Red Dead Redemption announcements, even I think it was the first announcement with just that logo. Take-Two, their Rockstar Games, sorry, not Take-Two, Rockstar Games, their stock instantly went up just from the announcement that this was coming.
Wow.
So I didn't know people were that mad about Red Dead Redemption. I liked it. I loved it. I was really into it. But I didn't know there was such a following for it.
Maybe Rockstar suspected that there may be, and this was a good way to check.
Yeah.
What's the harm? Post a picture that's in development anyway, and it's like, well, that's been confirmed.
Yes, yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, it just shows, doesn't it, that at Rockstar they have a real tight hold on their R&D, because there's been no leaks about this. There was always that hope that it would come at E3. I think there was a slice of a map that was leaked, but that's it. There's nothing else. Yeah. So they obviously run a tight ship there.
And I like that closed off aspect.
I do.
I prefer it. You get sick of, since the internet, it's like, because there's a demand for news. There's always got to be news about everything. Every frame of a trailer has to be dissected. There's always got to be news. So I love it that they keep an iron grip on it. I really like it, and I'm glad I'm glad that the announcement is a Red Dead game as well, rather than a GTA game, because it's just it's a slice of gaming that isn't that well explored, and they did it so well. On the other games they did. I mean, I didn't play the other one, but I played Red Dead Redemption. I never played Red Dead Revolver. But it just feels fresh. And so I'm so glad it's not... GTA games, I've always loved them. But yeah, I'm sort of happier that the next game from Rockstar is going to be a Red Dead game, and I cannot wait to saddle my horse. And after playing sort of the horse riding in Metal Gear Solid 5... that was so satisfying and done so well, and we're going to be a long way from that when this comes out, so it's just going to be, I'm just expecting it to just be so good.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, and I'm quite interested, especially because I'm quite big into kind of like the online multiplayer stuff, like Destiny, like Division, and I'm quite interested in the whole online multiplayer. I did tweet out that by this time next year we'll be able to be a pirate in Sea of Thieves, and we'll also be able to be a cowboy in Red Dead Redemption. So all I need is someone to make a really good multiplayer Avengers game, and I'm sorted.
Wow, I love gaming. I think it could work, a little bit like. Hopefully, they'll do it a little bit like Forza or a little bit like GTA. Where you're sort of like in your own world anyway, but it sort of just links. I think maybe they'll do an evolution of that. It sounds really cool. You get your posse together and go on a little. What would you call it? Lynching? We're going on a lynching.
But that's it, I mean, I know you scoff at the Division, but that's exactly what the Division did. You were able to just kind of go, right, we're all meeting up, we're all going to do that campaign, but we're going to do it together. And I think I would love to do stuff like that. If there was these big moments in the game where you could then just get like 7 people together, like the Magnificent Seven, and just kind of ride off into the sunset and do those missions. I'd quite like that.
Man. It'd be so good. And at the end of a mission, as you ride away, it's sort of just the camera cuts away and just it's you and your mates, and it's just some nice music into the sunset. It'd be so good.
That'd be just amazing, and that'd be really cool. And I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing some more. Obviously, we're going to get a trailer on Thursday, so it'd be interesting to see kind of what's happening there.
Absolutely.
So the last piece of normal news, sir, is with you.
Yeah, this is about game buying habits. There's been a survey from the ERA, that's the Entertainment Retail Association. And it's come back with some information that's quite interesting, and actually might backtrack a little bit to what you said about Overcooked, because it might be a little bit relevant. But basically, this is their 12th wave of consumer tracking surveys, which they've done. They do this every quarter, and they've done it for the past 3 years, and they get between 1,200 and 1,800 respondents in every wave, so that's an idea of the sample that's been used for these stats. I always think it's nice to get the sample size. So it looks like, for the results of this, have shown that the purchase of physical console games remains a firm favourite with gamers. It says 41.7% of the 1,216 respondents said they buy physical or digital games, and then that rose to 66.7% among the under 25s. It said that respondents to the survey revealed that most of them are only occasional buyers, which is quite interesting.
Right.
Even the most committed gamers rarely buy more than one game a month.
Right.
So a third buy less than once a year, and another third buy only once or twice a year. Which is, it's quite a big sample. I thought it would be higher than that.
Exactly. Those people that are buying like 2 games a year, that's your FIFA and your Call of Duty.
Yeah, it. It's totally them. So it also said that digital games were attracting just 22.9% of respondents overall.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and 77.1% went for the physical alternative. When they were asked why, the top 5 answers were, first of all, tangibility was 23%. Now, I'm not sure what tangibility means. Does it mean that just that it's something you can hold? Just the fact that it's physical? I suppose that's what it means, isn't it?
It must be easy access. I mean, maybe easy accessibility. They don't have the right broadband. They don't have so that it's harder to get hold of that way. So by buying it in a shop on the way home, maybe that's kind of what they mean by tangibility.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Permanence and security was 16.5%. So people maybe were worried that they're going to lose it. Because the network goes down, or maybe when they go to another console. But then, like with Steam, for instance, you're more protected, and with Xbox, have proved that you were more protected to actually have bought it digital, because then you'd get it in your store when it comes backwards compatibility. So that's an interesting stat. 12.9%. It was habit.
Right.
Oh no, sorry, no. Convenience was 12.9%. Convenience.
Right.
Which is odd, because it's kind of more convenient to just sit on your chair and get it.
Absolutely. If it's,
you can't argue that it's more convenient to go to the shop, can you?
No, exactly. If you
can do it online at lunch.
Either way, if it's
at
9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and you fancy playing Overcooked, you're 2 clicks and it's downloading. within, by the time you've had a cup of tea, and maybe by the time you've made a coffee, and had a muffin, you kind of, it's there, it's waiting for you. So I don't agree with, maybe, again, as I was saying, there are people walking home on a Friday going, do you know what, I fancy a game this weekend, or I know that someone at work was just talking about this, so I'm going to play that. But you can argue the fact that while that person's talking about it, you could just whip out your phone, buy it on your Xbox, and it could be downloading while you're on the commute home.
I know. So it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a lack of understanding.
Yes.
12.9% habit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can understand habit because it's, people are used to buying games. It might be for nostalgic or traditional reasons. So there you go. And being able to trade them in was only 7.7%, which I thought would be higher up. I'm surprised that one of the top 5 answers as to why you prefer physical copies wasn't just price.
No.
Because if you asked me straight away, I wouldn't be talking about tangibility or convenience or habit. I'd just talk about price. I'd just say, it just does my head in that it's like 50 quid if I buy it digitally, but it's $39.99 if I buy it physically.
Yeah.
That's my stock answer, really. It might sound like I'm a cheapskate, but that's just what I feel. I feel because there's a lack of distribution, if you buy it digitally. And we've talked about this before, and my conspiracy theory is that they've got to keep the bricks and mortar stores happy, so you don't sell them cheap. But we've also seen surveys that have shown that digital is going way up, and if they're selling at the high prices, then why not keep them there? So yeah.
But I have noticed, I was looking on the store the other day for what's coming out, and I've noticed that there's a few games that are actually they've got percentages off. There's some of them, if you're EA Access member on Xbox, you get some price off. But also if you're an Xbox Gold member, I noticed that Watch Dogs was cheaper. It was almost like about £10 off of Watch Dogs if you pre-order it, so which was quite interesting. So maybe they're trying to get you there before the reviews come out. So
okay. Well, Kim Bailey, who's from the ERA, she summed up the conclusions of these statistics, and she reckons that by far the greatest number of potential gamers are physical buyers who are price conscious and buy only occasionally.
Wow!
So that's sort of your greatest number of people that are consuming games, which is surprising. But I suppose when you've got so many consoles out there, you've got people from all walks of life. Maybe the hardcore gamers are a small percent in that. In this 40 million PlayStations and 25, 30 million Xboxes that are out there. So it also comes to the conclusion that digital skews towards wealthier male gamers, which is the group that's most likely to be among the keenest buyers. That reminds me of somebody. Don't know what you mean. One possible conclusion is that games publishers have become more and more dependent on the most committed, digital savvy and wealthiest gamers to get in there and sort of bolster the sales, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And a final question, which might support that hypothesis, concerns when buyers are most likely to buy compared with pre-ordering. So 10.5% would pre-order, but on release buy, it's 20.7%.
Wow.
Now, the rest of it, the 68.8% that's left, would wait until after the price has dropped.
Really?
Yeah, no, I can't believe. I thought everyone would be a day one.
Yes.
I thought the 68 would say be a day one with 20% pre-order and 10% are having the patience to wait. It's great when you base everybody on your own, what you think yourself. But yeah, so by far, yeah, the massive amount of gamers are the ones that are going to wait.
It's really funny because, like, kind of in
it's
my
little
drip
feed of sales.
That's really interesting because, like, in my little bubble, in my little world, a lot of people I know they pre-order. A lot of people kind of. I mean, I do.
I think that's everybody, don't you? Though
yeah,
I
really
do.
Everybody
just gets everything at once, and it's weird. You see something like that, and you think it's like, well, we're not in the main top percent, and I find that really weird.
I think my pre-ordering kind of stems back from way back when, where if you didn't pre-order, if you didn't go down to Game or then it was EB, Electronics Boutique, or W.H. Smith's when they used to sell games, if you didn't pre-order your game, you didn't get it on day one of release. And obviously that's different now with digital because it's available for everybody. But I think I've still got that way kind of set in me. You know, I remember buying Zelda. I remember having 2 copies of Zelda of the Ocarina of Time, the gold edition. I remember having 2 copies. One was in EB, one was in WH Smith's because I'd pre-ordered them. I ended up giving one of them to my mate. I remember driving to my friend in Bromley, dropping one off with him, then driving home in the fog and getting home about 1 o'clock, and then I started playing Ocarina of Time. So I remember giving him the copy, and then he started playing it in front of me. I'm like, well, if you're going to play it now, I'm off. You know? So I then drove home. But I think, you know, for me, that's kind of deep rooted, where I've got to pre-order because I'm not going to get it otherwise. And that's the same with, you know, whether it's a console or whether it's a piece of hardware or if it's a mobile phone. I'm always kind of, if I want it, and again, kind of going back to being kind of a tech person, loving tech, if I want it, then I always pre-order because I'm scared that I won't get it or I won't get that game when I want to play it. And it is all about that kind of zeitgeist that you want to be in, and while everyone's playing it, it feels quite cool. It feels nice to be in that. It feels like you're in that discussion. But I really thought that pre-ordering number was like, you were saying like 10.5%. I thought that would be a lot higher.
Yeah, so did I. And I don't pre-order unless there's sort of special circumstances, like, you know, something exclusive giveaway, like the Fallout 4 Pip-Boy edition, something like that. Then I'll pre-order, or I'll pre-order consoles and things like that because I don't want to be left. You know, I got my Wii day one, which was quite a feat at the time, and I love. Don't really do that anymore, but I used to love going out and collecting the console from the shop I pre-ordered it from.
Yes.
I used to really like that, but I usually get it delivered these days.
Now you just sit at the window and wait for the delivery man. That's what I do.
Like all day getting neck ache. Yeah, totally. But I did that for like 2 weeks from my Vive.
Yeah, exactly. You're just stuck at the window. But for me, pre-ordering is also about having that, especially with the digital version, is having that available on the first day. You know, you don't want to go, oh, I fancy playing a game now. I'll pre-order it. I'll buy it now it's out, because if you did that on Friday, you know, when you got home from work at like 7 o'clock on Friday, go, right, I'm going to buy a game now, you wouldn't get playing it until 9-10 o'clock. So for me, that pre-ordering is about getting that at midnight now. You know, it is different, but again, I kind of reiterate, I'm just surprised that's so low.
Yeah, and I'd be so angry with the pre-order. I think pre-install should be autonomous with a pre-order, a digital pre-order.
Yes.
Because, you know, like, did you say that you hadn't kicked one off? And like, yeah, I'd been saying, you know, I got it and it like released, but I didn't like get it at midnight. I think they should always be pre-installed, you know, ready, so that as soon as the stroke of midnight, if you're up, or as soon as you get up the next day, it's there ready.
Yeah, and most of the time they are. I mean, like Rare Replay, Halo, Nicola's copy of Gears of War, Forza 6, and also Forza Horizon, you know, all those games that I've pre-ordered, they've all been there. You know, you've always kind of seen, you know, after it's gone gold, you suddenly see a big download happening. Yeah. You know, I don't know what happened on the PlayStation Network with Batman Arkham VR, and I know the fact that the other version of Gears of War was user error, because I unplugged that Xbox.
Yeah, I read some horror stories about Mafia 3 taking like 15 hours to download and stuff because of some bottleneck here and there. But if that was, apart from that, these odd incidents, it's so elegant, isn't it? For me, the price is just a little bit too skewed to get me jumping on yet. Just that difference, and because I've got sort of a few little bugbears about it, I try and stick to my guns as much as I can. Obviously, it's easier though to just get it digitally. But it also asks the question, sort of in summary, that this suggests there's untapped potential for the physical market that's maybe being ignored. So Kim Bailey sums it up by saying digital formats provide huge opportunity for the development of the market, which is fine, but it may well be that the focus on the digital is to the exclusion of its mass market physical equivalent, and it could be leaving huge amounts of money on the table that's untapped. And that, when we were talking about Overcooked a moment ago, maybe a physical copy gets into that market, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I had quite an interesting discussion with my brother-in-law a couple of weekends ago, where we were talking about Forza, and he was like, "So I've got this copy of Forza. I can play that on my PC as well." And I'm like, "No, you can't, because you have to have the digital version." And he was like, and quite rightly so. He was like, "Well, why? You know, why is that only because I've got the digital version? I can't play this on a PC as well?" And you know, and I totally agreed. You know, it's just something that Microsoft are doing to make people kind of to skew people into downloading that digital version rather than go and buying that physical.
But everybody would buy the physical. I know. You buy the physical, download it on your PC, and then you sell your physical like same day.
But I mean, imagine if you had to still put that disc in your PC just so you could then play it on the PC.
Absolutely. So if they did that, then yeah, absolutely, they should do that, shouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Then you'll play anywhere.
I'm gutted that I got Forza on a physical copy now because I can't play it on the PC.
Well, exactly, and the play anywhere is more about convenience. So that's like, that's just this evening, James has sent a message saying that his wife is watching something on the TV, so he's going to try and play Forza on the Surface or something. So it's stream it from there. Then that's exactly it. That's exactly how that play anywhere is. That's what it's for. It's for that convenience, which means you can then play it over on your laptop or on your PC.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it should be. So just taking your disc out of your Xbox One, not disturbing whoever's watching TV on that other thing, and then go and stick that into your PC and then play it. And I think this research and the summation's right. It's excluding those people that want to buy digital, that want that. Some people want to, on a bookshelf, want all of your Forzas, all of your Gears, all of the games from Rare. You want those on a bookshelf, and because you want them to look nice. But by doing that, you're actually being penalised.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just makes me it gives clarity to why they bring out. We were talking a moment ago about why would they bring out a box copy, and it's like, well, there's the untapped market, and you're going to increase your sales by just having a physical copy out there. So Rocket League gets out there, and all of a sudden you've got like 68% of gamers that prefer physical that are going to pick up the game that never would have, perhaps. And it applies to any game that maybe hasn't hit a physical copy. That research, if it's true, he's got the stats there. I know you can argue stats for one reason or another, but it kind of clears that up for me, actually.
Absolutely, spot on.
Cool.
So should we head over to the VR news desk now for all the latest in VR news?
VR desk.
Yes, of course we should. And here we are at the VR desk. The VR desk shining with a special kind of shine as a new platform has joined its family.
I love it over here now in my PlayStation VR.
Do you feel more at home?
I do. It's nice now. Before I just felt like an imposter.
Now you're part of it. How do you find yourself torn between two gaming worlds now, Antony? Between the virtual and the real games? If that makes sense, real games.
Well, it's weird because
virtual and actual.
Yeah, exactly. It is because as you've said time and time again, there is the immersion that you had previously when you're playing, Gears, when you're playing Batman. You're like, oh, this is so good. I'm so into this game. But the moment you look left or down or up, your real world's there. There's all my graphic novels in the movie room. There's my coffee. There's people walking backwards and forwards. You're distracted by your phone. But when you're in VR, you are purely properly immersed, because there's I forgot about my phone while I'm playing in VR. I didn't even care what was happening over there, because I was just so into this world.
Yeah, I mean, I've read many a post, and I'm glad that it hasn't happened to me, but many a post of people with a Vive or an Oculus saying basically it's ruined normal gaming for them because they're not interested anymore.
Wow.
For me, I'm not there. I really love it, but I still love my normal games as well. But I can sort of see an inkling of what they're getting at. But for me, I'm interested in the diversity of games. I still play Donkey Kong, for goodness sake. I wouldn't just play something and abandon everything else. But you can sort of understand why they're like, oh, it's not as good. You can't get this. Maybe that's something that I wear off. But many people have posted and said, wow, this is it. I just can't play it unless it's in VR. But I mean, I sort of think, well, there's some games that are more suitable out of VR.
Yeah, absolutely. First-person shooters, that's yet to be proved. I would love to see something like that. But even Nicola was saying, you imagine what Gears of War would be like. So she went straight for Gears. Imagine what Gears of War would be like. I was like, well, it would be incredibly bloody and in your face. But she was like, I want all games in this now. But
yeah. It's scary though when something attacks you. I proper back up. You end up hitting a wall.
Well, absolutely. But there are some, as you say, there are some games games, like Super Hypercube or 100-foot robot golf. Even though I can play 100-foot robot golf outside of VR, I would never want to. If I'm sitting down and playing a couple of levels or going through the campaign in that game, I'm going to stick my headset on because it takes 2 seconds to set the headset up. All I need to do is plug one cable in, sort out my camera. At the moment, because it's not going through the wall, but that will just be there soon. So all I need to do then is just plug my headset on and put it on, similar to getting my controller out of my trunk. That's how accessible I want it to be, so it's easy to do that. So it's not a big faff, because what you don't want is a big faff to do something, because when something's a big faff, that's when you stop doing it and you go, I'll just do something else instead. But if all I can do is just go into the trunk, reach out the headset, plug it into that processing unit, off I go. That's me. I'm going to be using that all the time.
Happy as Larry.
Exactly. So what have you got for us on that VR news desk?
Well, we might do a little bit of crossover here. The first couple of things, PSVR, of course. So what have we got? PlayStation VR has made a big impression on the charts. Quite interesting. So the current chart from the GfK chart track had quite a few PlayStation VRs in the chart, which is a result considering PSVR launched on the Thursday. And the chart tracks only for that week. So
Wow.
It's sort of only a few days in.
Yeah.
So what did we have? The highest spot was for PlayStation VR Worlds. That went in at number 7. Until Dawn Rush of Blood was at number 9. Or is it number 9? Then you've got Riggs. That came up at number 12. Eve Valkyrie. I always have a problem with that word because I always want to pronounce it how the Gauntlet arcade machine used to pronounce it when I was little. Red Valkyrie. So I always want to say Valkyrie. That is at number 20. Drive Club is at 23. Battlezone's at 28. Loading Human is at 36th. And Super Stardust Ultra VR is at 37.
Wow, that's really good.
It's awesome, isn't it? So it's like bang, 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 bang.
And again, they're the physical titles because you can't buy Batman Arkham VR physically. You can buy a little card for it in game, but there's not a disc version of that. So these are all the kind of physical units, aren't they?
Yeah, they are indeed. So that's 6 straight into the top 40.
Wow, that's really good.
Launch. So I thought that was good. It's just a positive message, a positive launch. And again, and we reported on this in the VR desk a long time ago, some research from Superdata Research, and they made some predictions on VR ages ago. Now, I think it was in March we probably reported on this, and they predicted that the headset would sell 2.6 million. And that was before, that was way before the pre-orders had launched. Now they've got some more precise figure-based research, and this is what they've got. They're saying that the PlayStation VR's biggest benefit, some of this is probably like sucking eggs, but I'm going to go through it anyway, is the approximate 44 million install base of PS4s. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's easy plug-and-play setup, which I think, you've testified to today.
Mm-hmm.
The Xbox Connect, which really only had mini-games, as it sold 8 million units in 60 days. So they're comparing even, pieces of equipment that maybe aren't as good, still had good success. Sony is well versed at product launches, and they're saying with it scheduling around 500,000 demos to help sell pre-orders of the device. Big name titles: Batman, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy 15 experience. That's more of an experience, isn't it? That one.
Mm-hmm.
The limiting factors that they give are that Sony has previously had issues with manufacturing a new device early in its life cycle, and with PS Pro coming out next month, people might be waiting to get that console first. So they're thinking that might be holding it back a little bit. But they're still predicting that 2.6 million are going to sell by the end of the year, even in wake of that information.
Yeah, it must be a weird time if you're looking to buy a new console and a new Sony console. You've got the Pro, you've got the Slim, there's PlayStation VR. It's either going to be confusing or really expensive.
Yeah. Well, they're saying they give a precise figure. They reckon it's going to sell 2 million by the end of this year. 2,602,370 units by the end of 2016, based on that information.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But that's a good base, isn't it? It's a good install base. And I think it looks cool. I think it looks good. I've seen a picture of you on it,
yes,
and Nicola, and I think it's the coolest looking of the headsets. I think those blue lights. I think it looks good.
There's something very cool about those blue lights. When those blue lights come on, there's something very cool about it. I got a nice little PlayStation. See, it's the little things that I like. I've got a nice little PlayStation wipe for the lenses, because I do find that people's kind of eyelashes kind of get messy up. So I always make sure it gives a nice little rub down before someone else uses it. So that's quite cool. It's a little PlayStation branded cloth, which is quite nice. I like that. That was really nice. So, and it is. There was when that light comes on, especially when you play in the dark, it just looks very cool. It looks very future tech.
Yeah, it certainly does. It does indeed. So now if we're just away from PSVR, VR just becoming more and more mainstream. Basically, this story is about The Guardian has announced the creation of a dedicated VR team, which is going to work on all areas of the industry. So that they obviously think that it's a big thing. It's going to their team that they're creating for VR is going to cover editorial, project management, digital development, design and commercial. And they're going to have an editorial team as well. They say virtual reality and interactive content offer an extra dimension to storytelling in journalism. And we're thrilled to have been able to create a team that's dedicated to projects of this nature. Now, an example of what they could do is they did something in the past that's similar to what they're looking at moving forward with, where they wanted to give people the idea of being stuck in it. They must have been doing a news story about prison cell or something, somebody that was in a cell for so long, and so they made a VR of a scene of a cell, of a replica of the cell in question, so that the person reading, if they're interested and they got the kit, can then just pop on the headset and then they're in this prison cell and they can see what it was like from that person's point of view. So you can imagine that they could use that to enhance the stories that they're pushing out to the people.
Wow. So you could say that The Guardian's going to have a VR news desk.
Yeah, we should have patented ours, shouldn't we?
we should paint it as well. But we should have put a trademark around that. We could have they could have just got you to host it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd do my best. I don't know if I fit in. The last thing we've got, and finally, I sifted for an amusing piece of VR news. I found it very difficult this week, but what I did find was that NASA have been increasing their use of virtual reality, which I thought was another positive message. They are using at the moment, they're working with all the technologies. They're working with Oculus, they're working with HTC Vive, they're even getting their hands on PSVR as well, because they think that this is just a great technology to work with. And they're looking at it as a new tool, in the same as CAD came around and they got behind that, and that made the job easier to design. And they see VR as a very similar tool in technology. They believe that there's a quote actually. This is from Josh Kinn, a deputy project manager from NASA Langley's Flight Projects Directorate, says it's just going to be like any other tool. So the same way CAD tools change the way we design things, this is just the next evolution in that. This is going to be the way we visualize information going forward, and this is going to be a standard tool we take for granted in another 10 years. That's what he reckons. They're using, as I say, Oculus, HoloLens as well, Vive, PSVR across their facilities. And their sort of slant on it is that almost any researcher, scientist or engineer there can take advantage of these. But what they want to do is help people who want to do that, rather than having every person there having to figure it out from the beginning themselves. So they're popping these up all over their business. I don't know if NASA as a business, but all over NASA. It
absolutely is.
Yeah. And so they're saying it helps facilitate collaboration and communication between different NASA centres, because it gives people more of a, it'll give people more of an idea of presence, won't it? So they've got like a team. This Josh Kinn, he's working a lot with VR within NASA to basically just get them to implement and use the technology more and more. So when I think a massive organisation like NASA getting behind it. I think we've had other stories from NASA as well. It seems that they're still focused on it, aren't they? They're still using it. It doesn't sound like they've sort of found it a fad and they're sort of not interested anymore. They're finding more and more uses to use it. They're they use it in one instance with a pair of like VR gloves to train astronauts.
Right.
I thought it was pretty cool. So they've got these special VR gloves, and then they train astronauts about, I don't know, maybe fixing things on the space stations and things. They've got another project called Sidekick where they're looking at sort of VR. I think it's like having some kind of overlay, like maybe an augmented reality, to give them more information in situations to help them fix things out in space and stuff like that, to reduce error. So yeah, it's really cool. They're well on board with it. Another quote was, "We know that in 20 years technology is going to do all sorts of crazy things we can't imagine today. Virtual reality and augmented reality used to be too expensive or too challenging for an individual researcher to use on their own, even at NASA. The way the hardware has become commoditized means that even with a basic understanding with these 3D engines, people can create meaningful content as actual applications for research and development." So it looks like you're saying, just the fact that it's becoming a consumer piece of kit means that it's a lot easier for them to get hold of. Maybe they wouldn't have considered it if it was like, tens and tens of thousands of pounds to use.
Yeah.
But they're looking at it as like almost like you'd look at getting a new desktop PC or something like that, or a laptop for a user. It seems that they're going to be looking at just rolling these out.
That's just so fantastic. I mean, I know that at the moment, if anyone visits NASA Space Center in Orlando, or in Florida, not in Orlando, sorry, in Florida, then they have a HoloLens experience where you go to the moon, where you go to Mars, and you experience Mars. So they have like a little kind of demo area there where you can go and you can try HoloLens. So not only are they in it kind of within their R&D, but they're also in it with it for display purposes as well throughout the Space Center.
Wow, that's awesome! And they're doing this like virtual classroom thing as well. So any kid that's got the kit can attend a class. It's just awesome, isn't it?
That's just so cool.
It just feels like the fingertip of what the future could be.
Yes, absolutely, and and as you pointed out earlier, this is just generation 1 of all of this. What's going to happen for generation 2, 3, and 4? It's going to be incredible.
It really is, yeah, it really is, and we'll look back on our wired sets and scoff.
Absolutely, indeed. And on that note, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. Don't forget, you can keep up with us. We're at gamerslostpark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on the Twitter. We're at LostSparkPod. You can also find us on YouTube and on the PlayStation 4 community and Xbox Club. Darren, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me online as Wythermator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, DazAGamer on YouTube, and at DazWhittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. And for me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter and on Nintendo. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gameslostpark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. Well, that's about it. We'll catch up with you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.